All right, welcome into On the Call here with Gabe, DeArmond, and Mitchell Forde, Mizzou and Mississippi State. Pretty close to kickoff, but we're actually just going to break down Iowa State being like a few yards from beating Oklahoma and pulling off a miracle comeback in the Big 12 title game. That's what I think we should do for the next few minutes. Although, because I'm trying to stream two things at once, my stream is not necessarily going great.
I've got it on the cable, the Ohio State or Iowa State Oklahoma game. So I'll let you know like 3 plays before you see that what happens.
Yeah, my screen has just completely frozen up while I wait for. Are you getting your event is about to begin on the Mizzou Mississippi State game?
Sure am.
So at some point, Mizzou and Mississippi State are going to play. Appreciate you guys joining us. Scott Clark is back. T-Rise is back. A few of you from our earlier broadcast, so thanks for joining us, everybody. And Tigers and Bulldogs, I don't know, a few minutes from kickoff. We don't really know. They say 2:30, and we just know it's sometime in the general 2:30 vicinity.
Within like 11 minutes of there.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe we'll have time to finish watching this whole game. Ohio State, is that over yet?
Yeah, Ohio
that is
State
over,
won.
22-10. So
yeah. I mean, that score is misleading. It was in no way were they 2 touchdowns better.
Right.
Northwestern's offense just completely shut down in the second half,
which is not surprising,
right?
Because Northwestern's offense is not good.
Right. It's terrible.
I don't know if you noticed that. I heard on a
dreadful.
I heard on a podcast I was listening to that their offense was ranked 99th in the country and their defense was ranked 2nd. So
wow, that's almost 2015 Mizzou level of contrast.
Yeah, it's getting close. So there are announcers in Starkville. We're watching that. But yeah, I'm gonna flip back over real quick. Oh, Iowa State going the wrong way. I kind of like those Iowa State uniforms, by the way, but they're not.
Yeah.
Like nothing about them lets me know that Iowa State is playing.
Right, for sure.
It looks a little more like Texas Tech, Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game.
Yeah. That game is now over. Iowa State just threw a pick. So
okay. Oh, I thought you meant it was actually over, and I'm like, but there's still a minute 18 left. I can't be that far behind. But yeah.
No, I mean, threw just kind of a prayer on 3rd and 11, and it got intercepted.
That game is, for all intents and purposes, over. Okay, well, I can close that then.
Yeah.
May have to keep that window open because I heard that there is a big game starting at about 3 o'clock. Not necessarily Missouri and Mississippi State is what I'm referring to.
Yeah, maybe we'll at least try to keep an eye on the Notre Dame Clemson game, but certainly gotta deliver for our diehard viewers.
Yeah. Somebody could write a pretty interesting story, I think, if they did like viewership numbers for every college football game today. Because like while you've got about 5 games that really matter as far as, national standings, I mean, let me see. I'm actually going to look at some of the other games that are being played today so I don't just rip on Missouri and Mississippi State the whole time.
I know,
Washington State and Utah are playing.
Yeah, like Illinois is playing someone bad.
Okay.
So there's some bad games.
Ole Miss and LSU are about to start. So like these are games that I would love to see the viewership numbers, right? Like you're going to get like 3 million for Clemson Notre Dame and like 47 for Ole Miss LSU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. We appreciate you guys watching with us and caring about Mizzou, but there's no chance I would have picked the Mizzou game over. At least not. You got to have multiple screens going. If you only have one screen, I don't think I would pick Mizzou. But the game is underway.
Yes.
So
I think most of the people watching along here probably are also keeping their eye on maybe another game. Justin Ferguson is at the stadium and has located Sean Robinson. So
props, by the way. I appreciated that before the game.
Yeah, I'm impressed. He is number 12. McGuire, Byers, and Whiteside are all there on the sidelines, and Ben Key also in uniform. It appears like he is going to play. So. Yeah, Dan points out the grass looks a little dead in Starkville.
It does. Mizzou hasn't played a ton of games on real grass this season. First
Oh.
play went backwards for about 11 yards. Not really.
Negative
like
8
yards.
That is.
Yeah, so we had Daniel Parker Jr., 2 tight ends it looked like, and then Chisholm and Dove starting receivers. No surprise there. And it just didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what Rountree thought he was going to see when he cut back, but he saw an entire huge wall of defenders. There were like 4 guys.
I mean, it's not like any one guy whiffed on a block. It was just, it wasn't there, and instead of taking no gain, he tried to bounce it, cut back, and that was not well advised.
Yeah. So, hey, at least they got a little bit of it back on second down, though.
Three of it.
I'm not sure 3rd and 15 is quite the situation you want to be in to start the game.
Yeah, probably not ideal. I mean, yeah, definitely not ideal.
Especially with this offense, because we've not seen a ton of like downfield passes really since LSU.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that has kind of been a somewhat under the radar storyline. Is that is one area Missouri's offense has struggled, and Connor Bazelak has struggled, is completing the deep ball. I don't know. I guess they're reviewing whether or not that was a catch. That doesn't seem necessary to me.
I mean,
they're reviewing for targeting.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
That makes more sense. I'm gonna watch a replay here. Ooh, yeah,
that's targeting.
That would be a big loss for Mississippi State too. Errol Thompson's
good.
I think he's up there in the
he's their
the
leading tackler.
Yeah.
But I mean, that looked pretty textbook to me.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, lower your own helmet and lower the crown of the helmet, and then helmet to helmet contact.
Yeah, and it wasn't like Parker ducked into it. I mean, that seems to me, go take the rest of the day off. At least we don't have to wash your uniform.
Yeah. Now the question is, how do I spell Errol with 1 L or 2s in my tweet?
I'd go 2.
Okay.
Also, I agreed with you though at first when you said they were reviewing to see if it was a catch. I'm like, 3rd and 18 and 3rd and 15 doesn't matter. Like it, whatever. Just call it whatever you want to call it and save us the time.
So that'll be a first down for Missouri as well.
Is that right?
It should be, because 15-yard penalty.
I like how the officials throw guys out. It looks so mechanical,
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be a better signal for that.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody seemed to agree that it was targeting.
And Errol Thompson has to be held back from charging onto the field.
It is also it's also his last game. Like, that's it. He's done.
Yeah, you're right. And he's also going to the locker room, which he doesn't have to do, although he'll probably just change.
Well, they probably want to calm him down.
That's a bummer for him.
Yeah, I mean, unless 2-8 Mississippi State this year, that could be like good enough to get to the Music City Bowl.
Honestly, with him, if enough other teams opt out, yeah. Although if there's an SEC team that should opt out of playing in a bowl game, it's probably Mississippi State. They've shown little desire to play.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but I just assume they won't get invited.
I liked how all these ACC teams that are opting out of bowls, like Georgia Tech, you're terrible.
Right.
Who wanted you to bowl game? Right. What bowl game are you opting out of? Like the Atlanta Bowl?
Yeah, it's like it'd be like the Broncos this year opting out of the playoffs. Like,
I was today years old.
Also, double pass.
Yeah, I was today years old when I learned that Towski Dove is left-handed.
Me too. I just didn't even notice. That was a nice little play, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Mizzou's got like 9 receivers who used to play quarterback on their team, and Towski Dove isn't one of them. But that was a nice throw.
Well, they're going to have another one too, because the transfer from Portland State. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I mean, Knox played some quarterback. Chisholm played some quarterback. I feel like there's more. Oh, Michael Wilson, obviously in college quarterback, but they used Towski Dove and it worked well.
And nice huge hole for Larry Rountree there. Does anybody really care for any of the bowl games other than the playoff games? I mean, not really, but they're a good distraction, right? They're fun to watch. I mean, I would just as soon watch teams that are better than Georgia Tech and Mississippi State play in them.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, they mean something for the school. You say, like, we went to, this bowl game, get some exposure, I guess. But no, I mean, like, it's never been, I mean, the biggest deal. But this year, especially when everyone's eligible, it's just like, whatever. We're making some money.
Right, exactly. So, heavy dose of Rountree. He's already got 5 carries. And he's done a nice job rebounding from the negative 8-yard average to start to get back up to 2.6 per carry.
Yes, that is actually impressive when you add in the negative 8.
Yeah, it's going to hurt the numbers for sure. Towski Dove, by the way, quarterback rating of 234.4.
Ooh, that's good. That's almost as good as it gets.
Good. Well, no, but in I feel like in college football, he can get like really crazy up there.
I think it gets into like the 250s maybe, or maybe that's pro. I don't know.
I thought you could in the pros 154.3 is perfect, but in college I think you can get to like 300, but maybe not.
Oh well, yeah, I don't know. I don't really understand what passer rating is, to be honest.
It's a made up number.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look up what perfect.
It's like the PFF grades.
Okay, what?
There's a completion to Damon Hazelton. Good to see him getting involved.
Okay, now what is a perfect passer rating in college football? Passer rating in the NFL is on a scale from 0 to 158.3. Guess what the scale is in college football? Like, just throw out a couple numbers.
I feel like I mean, I don't know, like 40 to 280.
Negative 731 to 1,261.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I wonder what you have to do to have a negative 731 quarterback rating.
That's a great question. We got to find out. I mean, I'm trying to think who had like the worst one game passing performance I've ever seen. I don't know.
There have been a few
years ago in the swamp was pretty bad.
Meanwhile, Missouri's down at like the 15-yard line.
Yeah. Also, what was you say, like Damon Hazelton? Now that he's catching the ball, like I want to, if he's consistently not dropping, I want to see him out there even more because I definitely think he's Missouri's best route runner, especially with Jalen Knox out.
Yeah, and Larry Rountree continuing to pile up the numbers. That's what, his 10th touchdown of the year?
That's a touchdown. Yeah, at least. I mean, that's 8 in the last 4 games.
Okay. So that was a fairly easy drive.
Yes, it was. Yeah, after the first play. That's a great start for Missouri.
Obviously helped by the penalty, which
right.
also happened to disqualify Mississippi State's best player. On defense, anyway. So, 7-0. We are what? 5 minutes in.
5 minutes in, yeah.
10 plays, 75 yards. Nice drive. Rountree did most of it. 6 carries for 31. Bazelak 2 for 3 for 13. Towski Dove leading passer 1 for 1 for 16.
Yeah, Missouri with 31 rushing yards on that drive all from Larry Rountree. It had 22 in the whole game against Georgia, so that's a good start.
And Georgia also against Mississippi State had 8.
Yeah, which is crazy. I don't really know how that happened.
Yeah. So, all right, Stewart wants to get Larry to 1,000 yards today. What would he need? Do you know what he's at right now?
I don't. I'm updating the live updates,
right.
But then I can
look it up.
So give me a moment.
I'll figure out where he's at. If I didn't type his name with a semicolon instead of an L. Let's see. Sports Reference lists him with 851 yards rushing. So he would need 149 today, which would give him 1,000, which is in a 10-game season.
That's impressive.
He has never had – so his freshman year, he had 13 games, 703 yards. Sophomore year, 13 games, 12-16. Junior year, 12 for 829. So he has never averaged 100 a game for a whole season.
Yeah.
This would be – he also has a career-high 100 receiving yards this year. So yards from scrimmage, he's got 951. Still a ways to go, obviously, to – I mean, he had 1216 when he had 220 or something in the Liberty Bowl. But career-high 12 touchdowns. He's had a hell of a year. It's been a little bit up and down. There have been a couple days where, he really was contained. But overall, he's been pretty good.
Yeah, I think at a minimum, you feel good about him getting to 1,000 yards in the bowl game. He'll get there. It may not be today, but I would think he'll get there this season. So very good year for him.
Yeah, and
he scored a lot of touchdowns. I know that. Yeah. I don't know exactly how many, but a lot.
12 this year.
There you go.
And I'll be interested to see what he can get in the NFL. I mean, I think he'll get a shot. I think he'll get drafted late, probably a day 3 guy. But I think he's probably going to have to play some special teams to get there.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, it's always a toss-up whether someone's going to get picked in one of the later rounds or be a kind of a higher priority undrafted free agent. But I think he has a shot. I mean, teams a lot of times keep 2 or 3 running backs kind of on standby in case they have injuries, and I think he's a good enough player if he gets a shot to take advantage of it. So yeah, he's very durable too. That helps.
Breakfast King says Rountree passed Josie on the career yardage list on that drive. He passed Josie a while ago. I mean, he's the leading running back in Missouri history and has been for 4 or 5 weeks, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it was for something else or that
could have been all-purpose yardage or who knows.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he would already still be ahead of him in that too, though.
Me too. Know. Yeah. The quality of my feed is quite poor. By the way, it's quite digitized.
I think you might be ahead of me. What are you seeing right now?
They just replayed Rountree's run and.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. I think we're seeing. I see now and now we're looking at a graphic about rushing touchdowns. He's 1 away from tying Zach Abram for his second most in school.
Does that say 39? My feed is so bad that's kind of hard to read.
Yes, it does.
Okay. So Davin's asking if bowl games rushing stats would count. They would. Those would be added to anything that Larry has. He's now got 36, 30. And 39 touchdowns for his career. So 3,630 yards, 39 touchdowns.
So quick update. Mason Pack starting on the field on the first play.
Wow. I mean, I wouldn't probably have predicted that.
Yeah. But good for him.
Yeah. So, yeah, Missouri with they've got 5 guys at the line of scrimmage on the second down play. And they've rushed 4 of them, and the quarterback got out of the pocket and just took off. Yeah. That I really like. I like the rush 3. That's what's worked against Mississippi State this year.
Yeah, on that first play, Missouri, I know didn't have that kind of stand-up rush end outside linebacker on the field and had a 6th defensive back in instead, and that was, I guess, Mason Pack. So. Yeah, that's. I think that's. I mean, that's. It's pretty proven at this point. That's the best way to deal with it with a Mike Leach team is, drop a ton of guys and try to keep everything in front of you.
For sure.
And they're doing that again here on 1st and 10 after the first down.
Just rush 3 there, and nice play by Bolton. He is really good in coverage, like as good as a linebacker that I've watched in person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So Williams, Pack, and Manuel are the safeties. Josh Bledsoe, I guess, isn't playing either.
He's not? I thought he was out there. Yeah, he's out there. He's playing slot corner.
Okay. Oh, okay. He's at corner. Okay.
Yeah, they have 4 safeties, like I said. That's why Pack's out there. I mean, Bledsoe's really playing corner. He's playing nickel.
Okay.
And then Carlisle and Rakestraw. So yeah, three freshmen and a walk-on out there in the defensive backfield against the team that throws every play.
That does nothing but throw the football, and they have them in 3rd and 10, and yeah. Snoop points out that Mike Maietti had a really nice block on the touchdown run, so good for him.
Yeah, I'll take his word for
Credit
it. I,
to-
I, I,
I
I
didn't
didn't
notice.
really get to watch the replay because I was typing and talking and whatnot. But he's been good this season. Now Mizzou's back to a more normal.
They blitzed 5 there, and Bledsoe made a really
Yeah,
nice
they blitzed
play.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice play.
I feel like that's the most interesting thing to watch is just how often do they rush more than 4 guys. Okay, well, the punt problems are about to rear their heads again.
Oh, really? Oh, boy.
Coming up. I haven't seen it. I'm just reading comments. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Special teams was really good last game. It was the only thing that was really good.
It was, it was. It was the only bright spot. And since they put Cade Musser back there, they hadn't had any issues.
Well,
but I guess that's about to change.
Yeah.
Or already changed, but about to change for us.
And and a touchdown. So, like, not just muffed, but...
Oh, boy.
I don't
I don't
know...
think I've ever seen a muffed punt go for a touchdown before. Can it? I guess
well,
it can.
because he recovered it actually in the end zone, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yikes.
Now, they might... It's possible if they say he had possession at, like, the 1 that they bring that back. Because that is... Somehow, Stat Broadcast has Missouri behind 12-7. Apparently, that play was worth 12 points for Mississippi State.
Well, I don't think that's quite right.
It says, Tucker Day punt for 46 yards to the Mizzou 11. Cade Musser returned 0 yards. Fumbled by Cade Musser. Recovered by Paul Blackwell at Missouri 0. Touchdown. Paul Blackwell for 3 yards to the Missouri 0. Touchdown. So I guess he got credit for a touchdown when he picked it up and another touchdown when he actually scored. But that's not the case. It's 7-7. I don't even know how to define that as a scoring play. Like
it's I truly don't think I've ever seen a muffed punt result in a touchdown before.
Yeah. We just said that they recovered a muff punt in the end zone. That's how I described it. So obviously, that's it. Now, okay. So Bryce is bringing up easy to say now, but why even try to catch that? I mean, he's at the 11-yard line. He's standing there,
right? You're giving up 10 yards,
right under it with a fair catch. It's not a matter of he shouldn't have tried to catch it. It's a matter of he should have caught it.
Yes, exactly. And like, he had the fair catch. He knew he wasn't going to get hit. Like, I mean, that's just a relatively routine play you have to make.
It really was. I mean, there wasn't really even anybody all that close to him.
No, there really wasn't. Yeah, it's not like he was going to get hit or anything like that. I mean, he did have to kind of adjust late, but I think that's just, not executing on a routine play.
Yeah. All right, so real quick, while we have a minute, this particular show that we do during every football game, and we'll do for the bowl game, is presented by Call and Gentry Law Group out of Jefferson City. You can get in touch with them at callgentry.com. The office is open if you need to go in and see them at 3218 Emerald Lane, Suite C in Jefferson City, or you can call them at 573-644-6090, or you can probably email them too, but I don't see their individual email addresses right now. So there are a number of ways to get a hold of them, and if you have any legal needs, whether it's personal injury or anything else, if you have broken laws or been accused of breaking laws, you might get in touch with somebody at Call and Gentry there. So
here's my
7-7.
question. So Missouri is, if you're Missouri, do you keep Cade Musser back to return punts? Because if not, your option, Jarvis Ware's out. He's not addressed. Right. So your options are Chris Abrams-Drain, who has muffed multiple punts this season, Barrett Bannister, who has muffed a punt this season, or someone who's never returned done before.
I would put Musser back there again. I mean, he dropped one.
I would too. I think, he's done it. He's got a large enough sample size that you have some confidence in him. Again, just go back to look, don't even try to return it. I know he wasn't on that one, but still, just secure the ball. I think you can trust him at this point.
Yeah.
He looks very sad on my screen right now. It looks like he's crying.
I don't think he's probably thrilled. Justin Ferguson says that Kobe Whiteside has gone in the injury tent. So, again, he is reporting from the stands. So, this is great. I didn't even have to spend any money to send somebody there, and we have someone reporting from the game. So
yeah, that is pretty ideal.
Yeah.
It seems from the comments like something bad is going to happen. But, again, it's going to take us a minute to get there.
Yeah. Okay, CBW says the punt probably would have rolled into the end zone before Mississippi State could cover it. It might have. Well, it might have, but there's no way. I mean, you're taught at the 11-yard line to catch it. As a
returner, you're not doing those calculations in your head in real time. You're saying, okay, I'm outside of the 5-yard line. I'm catching this punt.
Right. And it is now. It's more the 5 than the 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Oh my!
Things are going swimmingly.
It looked to me like Connor Bazelak wasn't ready.
Bazelak wasn't ready, and Maietti snapped it too soon. Yeah. Well, maybe. What about this? What if Drinkwitz told them, okay, our first drive started by losing 8. Let's see if we can actually lose more and still score.
Well, they did that. They're off to it.
They lost 12.
Successful start. They doubled it. Next drive, they're going to start off by losing 24.
Wait, did they lose 16? Oh. Ooh. That's many yards.
Does it go down as a Larry Rountree rush too? Because the next possession they have to have Larry Rountree rush for negative 24.
Let me look at the stats. No, it's a team rush for negative 16 yards.
That makes sense.
And Larry got most of it back.
There's just a massive hole.
Okay, so now what they need to do is on 3rd and 12, they need Mississippi State's best remaining defensive player to get a targeting call.
Yeah, and then we're
back on track. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to happen though.
My
because I know what's going to happen.
Paused on me for a second, so I may have ended up behind you again. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I know what's going to happen here because I've already looked at Gamecast. So.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, not I think kind of we expected some things like this, right? Some sloppy. This seems like Barrett Band. Look, you got to complete that pass. I mean, he was open. You've got to complete that pass.
I've been kind of saying it it's low key this whole time. Yes, but Connor Bazelak's been really good, but his deep ball accuracy has not. He overthrows these deep routes far more often than he completes them. And I know that's where you want to miss, but that was a wide open receiver.
Yeah,
and, you got to.
I mean, he was open by 3 steps. And look, it's probably not a touchdown if he catches it, but it's a 50-yard gain.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, also if you can hit on 1 or 2 of those a game, that's going to open up the run game and those, short completions that they like to do. So, that's another reason why that's important.
I have serious questions about the punt fielding on this, in this game. I mean, that Mississippi State one, that guy was asking A, to fumble the ball and B, maybe to break his neck.
Yeah, that was reckless.
But, yeah, again, we were kind of expecting some sloppiness. This looks like a December game between 2 teams that kind of are just decent.
Yeah, I mean, I would even maybe at least one of them is less than decent. But I don't know. It's a gray, kind of a gross field, and Mizzou is playing guys who, walk-ons and freshmen, and I know Mississippi State, I don't know their roster very well, but their roster isn't in great shape. They lost their best defensive player. This is what happens at the end of a season in a game that really kind of means nothing.
Well,
Weird things happen.
I was thinking before this, at the start of this week, I absolutely knew less about Mississippi State than I knew about any other team in the conference. 100%. The extent of what I knew was that Mike Leach was their coach, Kylan Hill wasn't on the team anymore, and that KJ Costello was not the quarterback anymore.
Yeah, I knew. I mean,
I think we're getting roughing the passer.
I knew they. I think there might be a hold as well, or if there's both, there might be both, or I thought there was a hold. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I knew that Mississippi State had gotten very bad, especially on offense after beating LSU and then beat Vanderbilt, and then, yeah, I didn't know anything about their specific personnel.
Okay, so we're at this point a full play behind, basically. I'm trying to catch up, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
So it was offsetting penalties, a hold, and then a hands to the face on Missouri.
Yeah. Well, as I refreshed my feed, then I hit play and it just did nothing. So that's unfortunate. I may not be able to watch the game. I may just have to watch Clemson Notre Dame the rest of the day. Sorry, guys.
You can just look at the comments on YouTube and Stat Broadcast and pretty much know what happens.
I can piece it together. Guaranteed I could, yeah.
Yeah. I have to try to write a story about it afterwards, so I feel like I need to see it, but you really don't.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. They're on the 45 now. So.
Yeah, I just saw the completion on J.C. Carlisle's guy.
Sweet, I'm ahead of you now. I won by refreshing.
Darn.
Hey, Mississippi State ran the football. That's
that was also
2 running plays.
Wow.
And also,
one was a scramble.
One was a scramble, but it counts, yeah. So Mississippi State was averaging 23 yards rushing coming into this game. They have 3 carries for 30 yards.
Wow. They were also averaging like 1.4 yards per rush.
Or 1.4 a carry, yeah.
Yeah.
They're now averaging 10.
Impossibly bad.
It's now down because they just ran the ball again.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know what's going on here.
Maybe Mike Leach actually paid attention when Eli Drinkwitz said we have no defensive linemen.
So
although
Mississippi State's at the 2.
They actually do have some defensive linemen.
Right. So I said if I was going to bet on this game, I would bet the under. And 10 minutes in, it's about to be 14-7.
Yeah.
Of course, you know what screws up the under is things like
muffed
punts for touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah. This has not been a stellar defensive drive for Missouri.
Well, and the problem is, look, that's the problem. If they are going to run the ball against you, if you only rush 3 guys, there's a lot of holes in a 3-man front when your linebackers are not really coming up to the line.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to find out what Mississippi State's season high is in rushing yardage.
Well, I don't think they have reached 100 rushing yards on the season.
Is that right?
I don't think so. No, wait, yeah, no, they have to. If they have, they're averaging 22 a game. Duh. Never mind. I'd take that back. They haven't reached 200 though.
Okay, I need to go to their schedule, and as I'm sure they're about to score here. Penalty. Okay, I'm going to their schedule and looking at box scores and seeing if I can find the most yards they've run for this year. Team stats there. Okay, against LSU, they ran for 9 yards, so I'm going to guess it's not that.
I can do this so much faster, Gabe. You're killing me. Go to CFB stats, and you can look at every game at once. Hold on.
Can you really? I think I actually knew that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can look at one team's
right at the game log. Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy was incredibly wide open in the back of the end zone.
Oh, you're ahead of me. Their season high in rushing is 87 yards against Arkansas, but that was the only time they've broken 40 until today. And at no other point had they broken 40.
I particularly like the 11 carry negative 22-yard effort against Vanderbilt.
That's impossible. Against Vanderbilt, Missouri ran for 300 against them.
So they have 34 yards rushing, which is already their 3rd highest total on the season.
Mm-hmm. And 5 away from being the 2nd.
Yeah, so Jaden Wally, the 7-yard touchdown catch, and
he's not someone you want to leave open. He's averaging 8 catches and 150 yards per game across their last 3.
I would argue you don't want to leave anybody that open.
Well, yes, that's a good strategy, especially in the end zone.
Because I could have caught that ball.
Yeah, probably true.
Eric is accurate. The defense on that drive was terrible. It pretty much was just, yes, it was bad. Bledsoe got picked. Michael's asking why they're playing zone defense. That's what everybody does against Mississippi State. Everybody plays zone.
And it's unusual for Missouri to do that. They're usually a very heavy man-to-man team. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, that's kind of the recipe to stop a Mike Leach coach team. It's just didn't work on that drive. I don't want to say it hasn't worked so far because it's only one possession now that Mississippi State's really moved the ball. But
the other 7 points aren't on the defense. So apparently Bledsoe fell down, Pack bit on a fake, and Scott says Mississippi State's going to score 50. So burn it all down, guys. It's pretty awful right now.
Yeah, let's calm down a little bit.
Davin says Mizzou's going to get blown out. I think we got to hold off just a little bit, guys. Again, this game should be 7-7. It is 14-7 because Missouri dropped a punt in the end zone, basically.
Right, that's the flukiest play you'll ever see.
Right, kind of like last week when it was 14-14. It really shouldn't have been 14-14.
Exactly.
It really should have been like 21-7. T-Rise wants Sean Robinson to play safety. I'm here for that. I like that.
I mean, like, you know, I think it'd be a cool storyline to add to this game, for sure.
Okay, Michael says we misunderstood. He says they are playing man and he wants them to play zone. So I can't say that I specifically was paying attention to whether it was
I think they played man. I kind of do think they played more man. It has looked that way to me. I'm not going to pretend I've like broken it down super, you know, heavily because we've been streaming and typing and doing other things, but yeah, it has looked more like man to me.
Dan wants to know, says he needs to get it out of the way early and ask if this game is a referendum on Walters. I mean, every game is. So I think, yes, obviously this one is.
Yeah, I mean, every game is a referendum on pretty much everything.
I'm not sure we even get to the second half. We might get rid of people before then. So. All right. So with the loss, we were talking about the bowl games on the pregame. With the win, they've got a shot at the Citrus Bowl. A loss, Outback / Gator would be my guess. They won't fall below the Music City. But T-Rise does point out this loss likely will keep Missouri out of the college football playoff. Although if it comes down to Missouri or Cincinnati for the number 4 spot, I think the committee might go with Missouri.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they love Missouri. They put them in the rankings at one point.
Yeah. All right. So I feel like you need to get a little something done on this drive. And what I would recommend to start is not losing at least 8 yards on the first snap.
Yeah. Or 24 this time that's the trend.
If they do that, they're going to be 2nd and 34 from the 1.
I think it's going to happen.
I would wager that it will not. Aside from Vandy and UK, has the defense looked good in any other games? Like, they were really bad against Arkansas and LSU, but also made huge plays in those games.
Yeah, and they were good against South Carolina. I mean,
yeah.
Like, that's not saying a ton. I get it, but, like, I don't know. Would you have liked to see some more from the defense at times this season? Yes.
100%.
But first of all, it's in football nowadays, you're not just going to win a bunch of games 17-10. Teams are going to score. You know, good offense is going to beat good defense, or equal offense is going to be equal defense too. Like we do. Like I you know, a lot of times I say I don't like to use the excuse of like, oh, so and so was out, but Missouri's defense has been dealing with an insane number of absences.
Sure.
There were times like earlier this season where they were, you know, throwing whoever they could find out there on defensive line for like every snap. So I don't know. Yeah, it's not. I just don't
like,
think it's.
I don't think it's something that cost somebody his job.
Right. It's not like, I just don't think it's something as simple as like, oh, well, if you had just called the right defensive play there or the right defensive scheme, the trouble would have been fixed. It's like, right. Well, no, we're putting Mason Pack at safety.
So that sack of Basilak, by the way, was credited to Tyrus Wheat, former Mizzou signee.
Yeah, he started today for Mississippi State. I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah. And Eric says the offense looks off, and I kind of agree, but like also this offense hasn't been great this year. It's had a couple nice games, but this has been a pretty like Larry Rountree's been good usually. Beatty's had good games, but like the passing game has been not anything approaching consistent.
I mean, if Missouri is playing well offensively, it's running the ball. I actually looked it up this week, and I don't remember the exact number, but in Missouri's wins, I think it's averaging 180 rushing yards per game, and in its losses, it's averaging like 55.
Okay, now it's
a huge difference.
That was Beatty and Bannister in the backfield there on the second down play together in like a split backfield.
I'll be honest, I missed that. I was,
I don't know why there's. I am curious why we've really never seen Beatty and Rountree on the field together.
Same. I really am too. I think there's, plenty of, I mean, Beatty can do enough. You can split them out wide, or you can both put them both in the backfield and have, Beatty run a route or whatever. I think there's a lot you can do in that. And like, I mean, they're your two best playmakers. Get them on the field for as many plays as you can. That was a nice throw and catch on 3rd and 11. Missouri needed that. Missouri really needed that.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you punt right back there, like, you're probably in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, you're putting a tired defense, I mean, not that tired, it's early in the game, but a defense that just got gashed with, very little rest right back out there.
They're sticking with Rountree, though. That's already his 10th carry of the game.
Wow, you're ahead of me.
I'm surprised.
I just saw his 8th.
Oh, I might have just seen his 8th, but I'm looking at Stat Broadcast. So
Stat Broadcast, yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, Missouri has run the ball on 13 of its first 20 plays.
Which if that's successful, that's big in this game. Because I mean, like I said, Missouri has to do that to be successful, and Mississippi State's strength has been its run defense. Now, the issue is obviously you can't have that be your game plan and then give up touchdowns every time Mississippi State touches the ball.
Right.
But
so I'm going to update the stats. It's going to be 4th and 2 at the 38 to start the second quarter. You have to go for it, right?
I think so. Unless you think Harrison, I like my offense to get, it looked like less than 2 to a long 1, more than I trust, a kicker to make, what would this be, a 56-yarder?
56-yarder, and that wouldn't, that you'd still be behind. I would assume they will be going for it.
I think so too.
I would not have taken Mississippi State rushing for more yardage than Missouri in the first quarter, honestly.
Or at any point ever.
Right. Overall, the numbers are actually almost identical. I mean, they're within like 5 total yards of each other.
Right. It's just that muff punt. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the whole ball game there right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't add though. That's unfortunate.
Again, we're writers. We're not math people.
I'm pretty decent at math, but that was not my best moment. First down, yeah, like Missouri has 7-3 first down edge, so like they're moving the ball more consistently. But Mississippi State has made the big plays, and like I don't know if that muff punt counts as a turnover. It does. Okay.
Yeah, it should.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure just because technically possession never changed.
Yeah, but muff punts count as turnovers.
Okay. Well, that's one.
Yeah, and really, I mean, like losing the turnover battle to Mississippi State, like would be kind of hard to do. Mississippi State's been like I think the second worst team in the country in terms of turnovers this season. So we'll see if Missouri can get a couple back.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they did have 2 games with like 7 interceptions, I think.
Yeah. I think Mississippi State has turned the ball over like 36 times this season. So I don't think it's actually that many, but it's a lot.
I mean, that seems like a lot. Yeah. Let's see. We're going to go to turnover margin here if I can find it. There it is. Okay, Mississippi State currently ranks Hang on, we'll see if my internet is going to work.
There's 3 teams worse: Louisville, Georgia Tech, and Duke. Oh my gosh, Duke has turned the ball over 39 times and is minus 19 in the turnover margin.
And how many
season.
games?
11.
That's tough.
Minus 19.
I'm assuming Duke is bad this year?
I guess. I haven't heard really anything about them. Mississippi State has turned the ball over 22 times. Not nearly as many as I said. That's disappointing. 16 interceptions, 6 lost fumbles. They're minus 10 in the turnover margin on the season in 9 games.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, Missouri's going to be 4th and 2 when they come back, which they may be back. I'm not going to catch up on the comments there yet because I would like to see the play and be able to react to it a little more genuinely. But certainly they have to go for it, I think. I see no reason not to.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not punting, so, and I trust, again, I'm sticking with, as good as Harrison Mevis has been, grass field, I'm not sending him out from 56.
Yeah. Freeway JQ would like to see a Macklin returning punts. I mean, I agree. If you can get Jeremy Macklin back returning punts, you got to be happy with that. Now, maybe he meant Jay Macklin, but.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea if that's something Jay Macklin did in high school or I don't know. I mean, like, I trust that the coaching staff has, exercised a lot of options there. All right, I'm just now about to watch this 4th down play. Oh, man. Incomplete. Did you see it?
I'm currently watching Ole Miss LSU for some reason. Now here.
Well,
I apparently fell another 10 seconds behind you in the commercial, but I'm watching it right now. Yeah, so.
Bazelak rolls right. First of all, he's even if this isn't tipped, he's late on the throw.
Right. Rountree was open. That's a first down if Bazelak throws that on time. That was I mean, look, let's be honest about what this has been. He missed a 45-yard pass down the middle of the field to stall one drive. If he throws it now, like if he lofts that over the linebacker, Rountree is open. Now, I'm not sure he had the first down.
Yeah.
But he was open.
It was Tyrus Wheat again, knocking it down.
Yeah. So, I mean, this has largely been on the quarterback, I think, so far today.
Yeah.
But also, I don't like.
And the fluke punt.
Right. Like, what were the other options on that? I didn't even see anybody else he could have thrown to out there.
I mean, I didn't watch. I need to see it again. I thought there was another player a little deeper down the sideline, but it did seem like that was kind of the only option, which is obviously not ideal when you're looking at a 4th down play. You want to have more guys, but I'm sure there was someone running like a deeper out or something.
Right. My internet is horrendous, by the way.
Mine is struggling a little bit right now as well. I just saw that Jamal Brooks is on the field and kind of just got exposed in coverage there.
Yeah, Missouri is not playing well. That's fair to say, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's, again, all 3 phases, there's been some mistakes so far. That's not what you want, obviously. I'm curious to see, I'm looking out there. I don't see Nick Bolton on the field.
I see Nicholson.
Jamal Brooks was out there for that first down play that they got a first down, and then they subbed him for Chad Bailey, but Jamal Brooks is not out there. I'll turn to Twitter and see if there's any.
I think Bolton's been playing hurt for a couple weeks, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Since that Arkansas game, you could tell early on. He did not look 100% in that game or last week.
And I don't know, Michael is blaming Walters. I mean, maybe, I don't know. You got to be more specific about how the scheme is losing this game and how it's not just guys not making plays or getting beat. I mean, the offense is doing nothing to help them, and the special teams fumbled a punt in the end zone. So it's way too simple to just say Ryan Walters is losing this game.
Martez Manuel nearly had a pick there. That would have been helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy. It's so easy to blame the coaches, but like on the first play of this series. Like Jamal Brooks just clearly made the wrong play. He bit down inside and then got beat by the running back. And like I can guarantee you, he's not coached to do that.
Right.
It's just like, an offensive play worked with the eye candy. It worked, and they executed. Like that's not. I don't think that's all right. Bolton's back on the field now, by the way. So.
Outside of Bolton, is it fair to say that Martez Manuel has probably made more plays than anybody on this defense?
Yeah, I mean, he'd right there with Trajan Jeffcoat, probably.
Maybe Gillespie.
Yeah. By the way, Mississippi State just absolutely ran the exact play that Arkansas absolutely gashed Missouri on. Missouri handled it better this time. So,
well,
that's
I mean,
progress.
It would probably be difficult to handle it significantly worse.
Yeah, they only gave up 6 yards instead of all of them. Yeah, that was the exact same little sprint draw. I'm currently watching the third down play. Nice play by Jelani Williams. Much ballyhooed recruit making a play.
Oh, that was a nice play. Yeah, he could be a guy that you could watch next year, I think, because he's got a little playing time here.
Right, and he's played so little. It's hard to sometimes people get in their second year and you have a sense for what they are. Like I because Tyree Gillespie hardly ever comes off the field, don't know what you have in Jelani Williams, but that was a nice play. It was also kind of a questionable, decision to throw to a guy 5 yards behind the first down marker, but whatever. Take it.
So, I mean, I don't know. All things considered, you've basically handed them 7 points and you're down 17-7. It's not ideal, but like you get the ball back. Now you've got to go do something with this drive. I mean, you can't punt it right back to him down 17-7.
Right. Yeah. You'd like to, I mean, obviously this is the most obvious statement ever. You'd like to get points. You'd like to put a full drive together, but at a minimum, you can't just give it right back. I think. I mean, I like you said. You run, obviously keep running the ball, but I'd like to see Connor Bazelak make a play or try to get him just something to kind of get in a rhythm, some sort of a
short pass,
an easier pitch and catch to get him going, because it's not been super pretty so far from him.
Agreed. And Rountree's he's had some holes, but let's see what his numbers are now. 10 for 53. I mean, he's been solid, especially considering he lost 8 on his first carry.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
The offense has been, at least the running game's been okay. The passing they're 5 of 8 for 48 yards, but 16 of those are from a wide receiver. They've lost 24 yards combined on a sack and a bad snap. I mean, they have 3 plays that have gone for minus 32 yards. It's hard to win that way.
It is, yeah. It's hard to sustain drives when you're having, those that large of negative plays, especially then if you're, kind of recipe for success is running the ball, because once one of those plays happens, you can't run the ball.
And especially when you're not hitting deep passes.
Yeah.
I mean, you put yourself in 3rd and 18 and you can't complete passes 20 yards down the field. It's kind of difficult.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, I would you'd like to see some way to try to get Connor Bazelak going, some sort of, I don't know, quick slant, quick out hitch, something that maybe can get him back on track here.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Just something maybe a little play action, this is where situations like this is where I really think they need a tight end in their next recruiting class. Cause like Daniel Parker's a heck of a blocker, but he's not a big threat to go make a big play. And I don't know, Nico Hayes made a couple, but like he doesn't strike me as like a major threat in the passing game. I know they got a couple guys coming in next year, so I'm not sure if you can ask Gavin McKay to be that guy as a true freshman, but.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, I mean, I think there was a lot of hope that like Messiah Swinson could be that type of just, really kind of dynamic receiving threat to pair up with a Daniel Parker Jr. who can block, but clearly hasn't quite materialized, although he did have a nice catch on the double pass last week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I think Missouri's pass catchers as a whole, especially with Jalen Knox out right now, that I think you could see that, some talent could be used there. It's just been a bit of an inconsistent group, to put it kindly.
For some reason, the comments are all showing up in a really weird shape this week, and I don't like it, but I don't know how to fix it.
I thought you meant like I see what you mean now on your screen.
On the screen, yeah.
All right, well, I
mean,
haven't seen the
big drive, but not like game-changing drive or anything. I don't think we're at that point in this game yet.
No, I don't either.
I mean, that's a bad throw to a covered receiver. On first down.
You've become ahead of me again.
I don't know how this happens. I did I did shut it down and open a new window at some point.
I need to remember to do that during commercial breaks, refresh mine, but I usually end up typing something in the live updates thread.
So, yeah, I mean, Larry Rountree is working in this game. He is certainly on pace to get to that 149 that would give him 1,000 on the season. Mm-hmm. I do find it interesting, again, though, that Rountree has 12 carries and Beatty has 1.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about getting Beatty involved, but it seems like a pretty consistent theme that it doesn't usually happen until the third quarter.
Right, yeah. And I mean, it's tough because like Rountree is a really good player, and he's the type of player who's better the more he runs a lot of times. But yeah, I mean, like I especially if you got a struggling quarterback, I think Beatty is someone who you could absolutely use on some quicker passes, and they have once. So we'll see if that becomes more of a factor in the second half. I mean, if Missouri, if the run is working this well, obviously you would expect they're going to continue to do it unless they fall way behind. So you'll have plenty of opportunities for both. Also, rare sighting, Rountree and Beatty on the field at the same time here on 2nd and 5.
What do we think the chances are Drinkwitz is watching the show? And he heard us ask for that.
I don't think he's watching because I can see him on the sideline.
Do you think he has someone watching for him?
I think he has our audio in his headset. I think that's it.
Well, ask him to pass him over to Walters. We got some people that would like to say some things.
Or possibly Curtis Looper, since he's not there, is like watching this at home and then is texting Drinkwitz like, oh yeah, the Power Mizzou guys said put them on the field at the same time. So you should probably do that.
Yeah.
They're very smart.
So let's make the third down call then. I'd run the ball because I think you got 2 plays to get 3 yards.
Yeah, probably. I think I'd be nervous about going for it.
I'd like a pitch or something.
Yeah, like a toss, or some sort of. I mean, if it's a pass, I think it's something quick and safe. Easily completable, like maybe I don't know, a swing pass, screen, something like that. But I mean, I want to use a running back here because I mean they've been your best players. Okay,
so does Clay's asking if Basilak's deep throwing ability is a concern? I'm not going to say you worry about it yet. Like, you notice it. Those passes always are the hardest to complete, but also he's not throwing to Tyreek Hill and Randy Moss out here either.
Right, 100% agree. It's a bit of an issue for this current game because if you can hit on one of those, it's going to open up things for the running game and for the short completions and probably help Connor Bazelak get going. But I don't think it's a long-term concern, and I think there is you have to look at the receivers as being part of that equation. Some of his misses, I can think of at least 2 misses on deep balls this season that have been just stone cold drops. So
yeah, I mean he should have had an 85-yard touchdown to Dominic Jacinto against Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. And that long one to Jalen Knox against Florida.
Oh, right. Yeah.
By the way, I think are we using the same cup from Fuzzy's?
Yes, I do have a Fuzzy's Taco Shop cup.
That's pretty sweet. We should get sponsored by them.
It's the only one that's big enough to get me through like an entire half of a football game.
Yep, same.
So apparently Notre Dame is winning.
Yeah, I have
3-0.
been very sparsely following. Clemson just turned it over, and Notre Dame got it back and completed a decently long pass, and now is at like the Clemson 30.
I'm relatively certain this is the first time in my entire life I've cheered for Notre Dame to win a football game.
I don't hate Notre Dame. My uncle went there, so I had some fun.
I actually was at a Notre Dame football game last year with Notre Dame fans and rooting for Notre Dame to lose the game. Not
That's
vocally,
impressive.
just to myself.
I get it. All right, let's see if we're correct. Given this alignment, I don't know. I mean,
it's a good alignment for like a play action.
Yeah,
because it looks like a running formation.
I think they end up rolling Basilak right, where they've got 3 receivers. We'll see, and like throwing, having some sort of route combo there. We'll see off the play action. That's my guess.
I think they take an hour and a half to snap it, and everybody watching this already knows what happened.
Yeah. Oh, it worked. I was wrong, but
now you've got it was just caught for me, so you've now somehow gotten ahead of me again. So.
Yeah, and I during that last time out, I refreshed my browser. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, when in doubt on third down, look for Barrett Bannister. It means a third down conversion machine.
Yeah,
that's what he does.
Yeah. So we were talking about the Notre Dame game, and Dan wants to know, does 2-loss Clemson get in the playoffs? I don't think so. Like, who have they beaten? Have they beaten anyone good?
Not that I know of. I mean, Miami is like okay.
Miami got trounced last week by North Carolina. Let's see.
Who was that he was throwing to?
I don't know, but he got pulled down. Okay, they did throw a flag.
Yeah.
Was it Dove?
It was Boo Smith.
Oh, Boo Smith.
It was Boo Smith. Yeah, I couldn't tell at first. I thought it was 81, and I was like, who on earth is that? No, it's Boo Smith.
Yeah, Clemson's best win is either 42-17 Miami or 45-10 over Virginia Tech. No, they can't lose and get in.
No, I don't think
but
so.
Again,
either. I mean,
that means Ohio State and A&M are both in.
Right. Do I think Clemson's a better team than those two? Yeah, there's a good chance. But, it's just if you were going to have to beat Notre Dame eventually if you're going to win the national title. Right. They had 2 chances. So
Mr. Emerson there just straight out said, I'm just going to tackle this guy. Otherwise, it's a touchdown.
Yeah, probably smart.
And now back to the Rountree show.
I know it doesn't end in a touch, but a successful downfield passing play in a sense, that's good for Missouri.
Yeah. I mean, it got you 15 yards. Now, in the NFL, that's first and goal on the 2.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It was a nice little seal by Larry Borum there on the right side on that second down running.
He's really become way better than I think anybody would have expected him to at the beginning of the year. He's had a hell of a year.
Way better.
I don't think he'll get all SEC or anything because nobody who votes for that thing really probably has any idea, and he didn't get any preseason hype. But he's had a really good year.
Yeah, I mean, and what's one of those things with an offensive lineman, sometimes you can't tell. You can tell with him because of how different it was when he was out for those couple games.
Okay, I'm now looking forward to this because our next 3 comments are WTF, what the hell was that, and what the hell was that? So I'm now looking forward to seeing
I think they might be referring to the Notre Dame-Clemson game, but I could be wrong because in the Notre Dame kicker just missed a 22-yard field goal.
Okay, so we're going to see. I think this is about the Missouri game.
Right. Okay, maybe so. Oh my! I see now.
Let's see. Oh.
Usually, when you run the speed option, you're throwing a little pitch, not a full,
not a pass.
Wind up and throw. And also, Connor Bazelak had 5 yards right there.
So now you've got 4 plays have lost 37 yards.
I mean, first of all, Bazelak has 4 or 5 yards right there.
Okay,
I mean, that's a successful play. Secondly, I don't know how that is designed that large of a throw is needed on a speed option like that.
It probably wasn't designed.
Right.
But here's the thing. So this is why early in the year when people are wanting to just anoint this kid, as the greatest quarterback in Missouri history after the LSU win in a 6-year starter, except he won't be because he's going to leave after 2 for the NFL. Like, there were always going to be some days like this. Always.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he's a redshirt freshman who played in a wishbone offense in high school and didn't win the starting job in camp, Like, he's not perfect.
But this drive has achieved what you wanted it to achieve, which is you drove down the field, you got points. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you're going to, you're in a 1-score game. So it's accomplished what you needed to accomplish there. You would have liked 7, but 17-10 is a fine place to be considering all the things you've done wrong.
Yeah, it ends. I mean, it ends stops the bleeding. Mississippi State had scored 17 straight. So, yeah.
So, 17-10, Mevis from 33 yards, and he's like, I mean, anything under 40, I don't really even look at.
Yeah, he's impressive. Also, I just love his heft.
Yes, the thickness.
Yes, I believe I was told. I think it was the Arkansas game that one of the commentators used the word portly to describe him, and I think that's perfect.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. So I don't know. Apparently I'm in the minority here and reading comments, and I'm getting text messages as well because people don't understand that I work during games, so they just text me to talk about them. I don't know. I don't think this is. I don't think Missouri's in this awful place where you feel like they have no chance. I mean, they're behind, but
Yeah, like it's not like they're playing a juggernaut here. Mississippi State is I think you can have hope that maybe they're going to. I don't think you think they're going to execute every play perfectly. So we'll see. I mean, I think they overcame. They were down 10 with 11 minutes to go a couple weeks ago at 1. Now they're down 10 in the second quarter. I don't think it's time to freak out.
And let's be honest about what Missouri is this year. Like, they've beaten bad teams, and some of the games have been close. They only beat Kentucky by 10. They only beat South Carolina by a touchdown. This is not a great team either. The goal here is to simply win the game.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no beauty points or anything like that. So obviously there have been things that you'd like to see them do better, but again, they're rather shorthanded. So I'm not going to freak out yet or anything. And even if they lose, I'm not going to freak out.
Josh would like you to watch your mouth when speaking about Harrison Mevis, the savior.
What, that I called him portly?
Yeah, I believe
think that's a compliment.
I believe that was it. I'm pretty sure portly is almost never meant as a compliment.
Well, it was there, I can assure you. Well, Notre Dame missed a 24-yard field goal, and then Clemson just threw an 80-yard touchdown pass and is now winning. That was a rather big swing in that game.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah. It's only 7-3. It's early, but again, that 10-point swing there.
Game over. Forget it.
You say the irony of you saying let's not freak out. This Missouri game's not over. That was 7-3 in first quarter. Over.
That was intentional.
I know. I'm seeing it looks like Ole Miss has a long kickoff return, maybe for a touchdown. For a touchdown.
That's a very colorful game. Ole Miss.
It is.
So did you see, by the way, at the end of the Oklahoma game where they fake onside kicked?
Yeah, I did.
It was really dumb.
Who were they faking out there? They were winning by 7.
I mean, there was zero chance at 27-21 they were going to actually onside kick.
Do that out of halftime in a closer game.
Right. Didn't understand it at all.
That made no sense to me either.
See, you can tell on that replay they were just showing Nick Bolton. He's not as fast as he was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the fact that he's been off the field at all today clearly indicates he's less than 100% because we've seen him play every snap in quite a few games this season. He's out there now, though.
Yeah, he is there. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back to seeing like how many they rush and what kind of coverage they're playing here. So they rush 3, and Mississippi State
running the ball.
sets almost a season high with like its 5th rushing play of the game.
I gotta look at how their season high in attempts.
Well, they average 16 a game. That's their 7th. So
okay. Yeah, okay, so they're just, I forget just how, they actually, it's not that they never ever run the ball, it's that they're just incredible.
They never
effective.
run it well, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's going to technically be a sack, maybe. I don't know, he might have got back to the line of scrimmage. But Trajan Jeffcoat in there with the early pressure, and then Nick Bolton cleans it up.
.88 tackles is pretty good for 9.5 games.
Yeah, it's not bad, especially since he also missed more than a half of a game already this season.
Right. He did miss a full half, yeah.
Wow. Oh, man.
See, stopping this offense is entirely reliant on making that tackle as soon as the guy catches the ball. Now, I know he only got an extra like yard and a half, but that yard and a half is the difference between a first down and not.
And it's also keeping them, stopping them enough on first and second down that
right.
It's not as easy to do that on third down. On right. 3rd and 7, you can't. That's not going to get there, obviously.
So here's what you start to get a little bit concerned about now: is Mississippi State gets the ball to start the second half. I mean, if you let up a touchdown, that was not a play that will go on Josh Bledsoe's highlight reel at all. I mean, missed what could have been an interception and 2 tackles on the same play. But anyway, if you allow them to score here and then they score again, all of a sudden you're in a blowout, So, you either – I mean, first, obviously, you'd really like to get a stop, but – also, you're going to need to do something before halftime so you don't you're not down 24-10 and give it right back to them.
Yeah, so it's interesting what Missouri's done this season is they've basically said, like, our outside corners don't ever guard anyone in the slot, and Josh Bledsoe is the nickel corner. But he's done fine. But man, I don't know. And I know they've got true freshmen out there, but I'd be tempted to. I mean, again, they know better than me. I'm sure they've tried it in practice, but to throw Ennis Rakestraw on Jaden Wally because he's the other team's best receiver, and if he's lining up in the slot, so be it. I mean,
if you're gonna blitz 7 against Mississippi State, you have to get there. You can't blitz 7 and not get there like Missouri just did. So let's see what they're doing. It kind of. In the back here and see if Michael's right and if they're just manning up, and it does kind of look like it.
Mm-hmm.
No, they were. I mean, that was a run, but they were playing some zone back. Well, I think it's a combo.
I think it's like a cover 2 type deal.
I think it's a combo.
They're manning up the line of scrimmage, and then they've got 2 deep safeties, depending on if they rush or not.
Yeah. So, Missouri's defense offering virtually no resistance at this point. And the offense not doing much either.
It's tough, but they're either using someone currently injured or down starters at literally every position. So I don't know what to say. I mean, it needs to be better than this if they're going to win. But
also Mississippi State is down guys and lost its best defensive player, and you managed to put up 10 points. True. So, it kind of cut – this is not all on the defense. The defense is contributing. The offense has not helped, and they've just been bad all around. I mean, I don't really know how else to say it. So
really, no one has played well other than, I guess, Larry Rountree.
Yeah, Rountree has played solid. Okay, so Michael, again, they are playing some man coverage, but this is not just man-to-man on every receiver. They are playing some zone, too. So it's not quite as simple as just go zone and you win and go man and you don't, I think.
I would agree. I mean, just at every level, the defensive line's not getting pressure. The linebackers have gotten beaten coverage a couple times. Everyone's had a bad play,
right.
And it's just no one's really playing well.
Yeah, it kind of like, when we were saying last week, you can sit there and break down every series if you want, but they just got murdered last week, and this isn't quite like that. I mean, they're doing a lot of this to themselves. Again, they've got 4 plays that have lost almost 40 yards.
Yeah. I mean, yes, the defense has been bad, but when it's one of those things when you take the field with a defense that's missing as much as it is and struggling like it has been, you need a little more from your offense, and you need your punt returner to not muff a ball into the end zone for a touchdown.
Now, to be fair, Mississippi State is averaging 8.4 yards a play. That's not going to work. I mean, that's not going to work. But yeah, Missouri has. I mean, Bazelak has 2 carries for negative 13 yards. He's thrown a lateral over someone's head out of bounds. He's missed a 45-yard touchdown pass. Somebody snapped it over his head for a loss of 16. Rountree lost 8 on a carry. I mean, these are. By the way, you fumbled a punt into your own end zone for a touchdown. So
yeah,
that's the story to me. Really, is just, hey, maybe you should be behind. But what you've done is put the game kind of on the verge of a blowout because of those ridiculous negative plays.
Yeah, I agree. It's I mean, you can find a lot of positions in players that haven't been good enough, and unless that changes, it's not going to turn out well.
Yeah. So, and like Mitchell says, I'm old enough to remember when we were down 14 in the fourth quarter and won 2 weeks ago. So right. Again. Yes, it's discouraging because they're playing a bad team, but also remember, they are playing a bad team, and there are 33 minutes left. 2 minutes and 49 seconds is enough time for Connor Bazelak to get something done here, right? You need to go get some points out of it. Even a field goal out of this will, send you into the locker room with some momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you need. I'm almost to the point where I'm saying, you need points, and maybe you don't, but you can't give up any more between the end of the half or on Mississippi State's first drive if you don't get it yourself.
Right. Yeah, if you don't score here and then Mississippi State scores to start the second half at 31-10, I got to think, you're pretty cooked.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy for Clemson was open, huh?
Just a little bit. Yeah. So Eric Mullins in the comments says something happened to my audio. Can you all not hear me?
I can hear you.
Let's see if they can. Hopefully, if someone responds in the comments.
If for some reason you can't hear Mitchell, let us know. But I can hear him just fine. Nothing changed on my end. Clay Bierk brings up an interesting point. He says halftime adjustments are key. The offense has shown it can adjust, but I'm highly skeptical of Walter's ability to. And I always go back to something that Gary Pinkel said, and that a lot of coaches have said. You don't wait till halftime to adjust. You're adjusting after every drive. The go in the locker room and adjust to what happened in the first half, if you ask coaches, they will tell you it is largely an overrated comment.
Mm-hmm. Apparently I have an echo. I don't know.
Only for some people, though. You don't for me, and some people say it sounds fine, so I don't really
Bob
know.
Douglas was one of those, and he always says I sound good, even if there's an echo, I'm sure.
That's fair. I don't know. We didn't change anything.
Yeah.
All right, so, geez.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're in the first half, and Rountree has 19 carries for 90 yards.
Yeah, he's been a busy man. The thing is, though, I mean, like, yeah, you're going to stick with the run, and he's been good, but you can't now depend, have this game be a 37 carry Rountree game when you're already down 14 points.
Right. Like, you're going to have to throw the ball to score on this drive for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, and there's going to be late points later in this game if you're chasing points, unless you're getting some turnovers where you're going to have to make plays through the air.
Again, like, you're at midfield with 2 minutes left. The clock shouldn't even really be a factor.
No, I'm not saying the clock is a factor for sure, but
right. So you should be, and with 2 timeouts, you should be able to run the ball some here if you want to, if that's the direction you want to take it.
I'll try unplugging my microphone and plugging everything back in.
And I can hear what they're saying. It sounds like you're a little further away now, almost like you're, like it's a shotgun microphone or something. So. Also, if it doesn't get fixed, you can hang up at halftime and do the halftime stuff, and I can call you back at the beginning of the third quarter.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
Okay, so Missouri at midfield. And again, really only 15 yards from Mevis range at this point.
Mm-hmm. They put ESPN's putting their SEC Network's putting the target line at the 40, which is aggressive, but I guess possible.
Yeah.
It's a nice catch by Damon Hazelton.
So you're at least at the point where if it came down to it, you could try a field goal on the last play of the half.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, not going to be able to after this next play, but
right. Oh, yeah, and it was extremely blatant. I think that was Zeke Powell.
Oh yeah. I mean, he earned it, but if he doesn't do that, Bazelak's sacked. So at least you're in first and 20 rather than second and 18 with a quarterback who got broken in 2 pieces.
Right.
And Snoop says, there are 2 plays from being in a 3-point game, and that is true. But most games are like that, right? I mean, most games come down to 2 or 3 plays, truthfully, that drastically change the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bazelak's having a little bit more success on this drive.
Yeah, and let's look at his stats. I mean, he's okay. He's 10 for 16 for 97 yards. He's been okay, but Missouri has needed a little bit better than okay.
Yeah.
The offense hasn't been terrible. It's just spent too much time going the wrong direction.
Right. Like that, I was going to say, that Bazelak stat line doesn't tell the story of, like, missed what could have been a bomb and then, had that terrible pitch.
Right.
But,
right.
It might be about to get to
it might be about worse. Yeah. So, look, I mean, when you're playing a redshirt freshman quarterback and still this is start number 10, there are going to be some days someone else has to, somebody has to step forward, whether it's on offense or defense. Like, at some point, somebody's going to have to step up and make a play and pick up the other side.
I need to see that play again, but I mean, that was just bad blitz pickup. I don't know if it was a missed. Let me see here again.
On the interception?
Yeah, I mean, Rountree goes to help inside, and there's a blitz coming from outside, and Bazelak gets hit. He should have thrown to Bannister. He knew he was about to get hit, and he just tried to chuck one out there. But I think Rountree went inside when he should have looked at the edge there.
Yeah, he was under more pressure than I thought. But I don't think that, well, maybe the pressure affected the throw. He got hit closer to when he let it go than I initially thought he did.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
look,
that's definitely
like you cannot allow points here. I mean, you can't let Mississippi State score. Because they've still got to go 40 yards, 35 yards for a field goal. Oh, that was nearly picked by Bolton.
Bazelak's not feeling amazing on the sideline, too. They're showing it looks like he's stretching out his back.
Shoulder, back, okay. Well, I don't think Brady Cook is what you're really hoping to have to turn to in the second half.
Not when you're down 14.
These comments are just a ray of sunshine.
I'm not seeing them at the moment. I mean, gosh, there's wide open players like there's wide open Mississippi State receivers like every play.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in field goal range now. If you give up points here, look, I'm not going to say the game's over. But if you're down 27-10 and they get the ball and you haven't stopped them in 4 drives, like, it's tough to see. So, what, 22 seconds, and what's Mississippi State got, 1 or 2 timeouts left?
2.
Okay, so really the clock not a major factor.
No, not really.
But again, let's remember 3/4 of your starting secondary is also not playing in this game. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a factor.
I think Tyler Jones is back there at safety now. True freshman. I could be wrong. Oh, no, sorry. No, I'm seeing Rakestraw's at safety.
Okay.
Chris Mills is at corner and Rakestraw's at safety. And now Rakestraw comes up and is on Wally in the slot like I asked them to do earlier.
Okay.
So
see, they really are listening.
For those people, well, first of all, it just shows, again, our feed is going into the coach's headphones. Everyone knows it. Secondly, like, they are trying different things schematically, but at a certain point, like, your players might not be getting the job done.
I'm with everybody who wants to know how that was not intentional grounding.
Yeah.
I mean, he was literally in the grasp and threw to no one. And Breakfast King is right. Look, this game is not going to change the fact that this season overall was successful. Like, I get it's going to be a little bit of a disappointing end to it, but, 5-5 is, you'd have taken that before the year.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, I thought Bledsoe was going to pick that off, but he didn't quite get there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough as a sports fan. I know, like, you want to, make every single week a referendum and react to it, but, like, at the end of the day, like, when you step back and look at this season, it's still largely, very successful.
They've been playing with house money almost since beating LSU. I think definitely since beating Kentucky and South Carolina.
Third and 10 play was just a stone cold drop.
Well, sometimes you need a little help.
Fortunate break. And so I'm going to disagree.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea how he didn't catch that. What's that?
I think the rep got in his way. I'm going to disagree with one of our commenters who says the momentum from 3 weeks ago is absolutely dead. Like,
not at all.
Obviously, it's not helping on the field, but from an energy and momentum and excitement around the program standpoint, no, it's not. I think it's close to the highest it's ever been. And
yeah.
I don't think this loss today kills it that.
I mean, they've got nationally ranked recruits 3 weeks in a row. You know.
I think there's a lot of momentum right now, and really and truly, like outside of like 3,000 diehards who are watching this game, like this isn't even on a lot of people's radar. Like even casual Missouri fans have found something else to watch.
I mean,
today,
you want to win, obviously, but yeah, it's not a killer if you don't. And again, you've got 30 whole like Mississippi State. If they win the first half by 17 points. Like, Mississippi State's gotten beaten by 17 points in plenty of halves. It's doable.
That's true.
That's
true.
You're going to obviously have to come out and play a lot better, but. All right, so Ruiz good from 43. We're at halftime. Mitch, if you want to hang up and just kind of text me when you're ready.
Okay.
I'll call you back, and maybe the audio will sound a little bit better than I guess it does. It sounds fine to me, but
sounds good.
Okay. All right, so we are at halftime. It is 27-10, Mississippi State. And look, I'm not going to, I'm not going to try to dress this thing up and say you should be happy about it. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Missouri hasn't played well. But I think always, as sports fans, we get too high after the highs and too low after the lows. This is a flawed team, and you finished third in the SEC East, and this is not. It is in some ways 10 individual tests. And the only grade is pass or fail. But at the end, all those tests add up. And Missouri still had an upper half of the SEC season, even if they don't come back in this game, which they still can. And Breakfast King brings up a good point, right? 2 weeks in, every comment we were getting was this team's going to go 1-9. It wasn't nearly as bad as you thought it was then. And then it wasn't as good as, then people started predicting 7-3 after a couple wins, and it also wasn't that good. So basically, a sports fan lives like this. Always. It's always here or always here. There is no in between. The approach and what coaches need to do and what people looking at this program need to do needs to much more be kind of like this. Like, you can have a little variance, but the living all the way at the top or all the way at the bottom, it's what makes fans fans. It's why it's short for fanatic, but it's also why fans don't make decisions and why fans don't think logically. And I don't say that to insult you guys. It is a definition of the term fanatic. Like, I will want to cut somebody when the Chiefs lose tomorrow, which I think they're going to. Like, going in, I think they're going to lose. And I will be disappointed about it and want to find solutions for it. But it is the ebb and flow of a season, and especially a program. What Eli Drinkwitz is building here, or trying to build, again, the recruiting is better than it's ever been, and this season already was better than anyone thought it would be. And here's the other thing to remember. You can't end a game at halftime. I mean, if let's say, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but let's say Missouri comes out and figures it out on offense and they win this game 38-34. All of a sudden, it's going to be, man, Drinkwitz is great. He really got him going, and we love him and give him an extension. And again, not every game is we have to extend the guy or we have to fire a guy. I do understand the defense, I would say overall has been fairly disappointing, but I think this is just a season where look at what he's working with. And personally, I don't think anybody's going to get fired for it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But it's just my personal opinion probably that's not the case. And so I think another part of the problem here is that we are laying every bad thing on Ryan Walters because you don't want to lay any bad thing on Eli Drinkwitz. The offense hadn't been very good today. He picked the wrong starting quarterback to start the year, and I think he's a really good coach. I think he's a chance to be a superstar. But you can't just put all the good on him and everything bad that happens, well, that's Ryan Walters' fault. Well, he kept Ryan Walters. Like, he could have brought in a different defensive coordinator if he wanted to, but he didn't. And if the argument is he doesn't have anything to do with the defense, then he's not really the head coach. You know, I thought that was one of Barry Odom's faults, was he just completely turned the offense over. And so when the offense started going bad, he couldn't really fix it. If the argument is, well, Drinkwitz is the OC, he doesn't have anything to do with the defense, then he doesn't get to make $4 million. Give half of it to Ryan Walters. So, you know, again, I understand that every team and every fan base has guys that are targeted as the guys that this is going to be their fault. And Ryan Walters is that guy for this fan base. And frankly, I think it's a reason it wouldn't be a terrible idea for him to find another job, because he's not in the club. He wasn't brought here by Drinkwitz. Fans are going to tie him to Odom, which is about the worst thing that you can have with this fan base at this point. So, you know, it's why it wouldn't shock me if he found another job, even if it's not a head coaching job. You know, so we'll see. We'll see what the second half brings. You know, and we'll see what the offseason brings eventually. But, you know, yeah, Clay brings up, like, this really has come down to Missouri has made too many negative plays, right? You had the fumbled punt for a touchdown. You had the interception. You had the lateral over somebody's head. You had a negative 8-yard run. You had a snap over somebody's head. And that's not even getting into the defense. You know, that's just, I mean, you had the play where Bledsoe missed the pick and missed 2 tackles. These are all, I mean, it's not as much scheme as it is just, like, you can't make terrible plays like that. And I'm talking on both sides of the ball here. Like, the play calling's been fine, but you can't miss the 45-yard touchdown, and you can't snap the ball before the quarterback's ready in this and that. So, you know, people get really tired, because I get really tired of hearing execution. But that's all this is. Like, Missouri is just shooting itself in the foot. You know, so we'll see. You know, yeah, Mississippi State is bad, but they beat LSU. Like, they're capable. And if you thought Missouri was light years ahead of Mississippi State, like, that's no offense, but that's on you. Nothing about this season has said that. They're 5-4, and they're 2 plays from 3-6. 2 plays. Like, if we want to play their 2 plays from being in this game, they're 2 plays from 3-6. They've won 2 really close games. One on a 4th-and-1 goal line stand, and one on a last-minute drive with 43 seconds left for a field goal. So they are very close to being 3-6, and then if they were to lose this game, being the exact same team Mississippi State is. The separation in the SEC occurs at 2 places, between number 1 and number 2. Alabama, I believe, is 4 touchdowns better than anybody else in this league. Doesn't mean they'll win tonight by 4 touchdowns necessarily, but on average, they play somebody, you know, I think that's about the difference between the best team in this league and the second best team in the league. That's what they beat A&M by. Then there's another big separation between 4 and 5, because you've got A&M, Florida, and Georgia, which are pretty good to very good teams. And then you've got everybody else pretty much that, look, Tennessee whipped Missouri, and Missouri has whipped some teams in that group, and they've all kind of beaten each other, except obviously Vanderbilt is clearly number 14. But this Mississippi State team beat LSU. They gave Georgia a game. They lost to Georgia 31-24 any given Saturday, right? So if you came into this game saying, well, Missouri's going to win because they're just a lot better than Mississippi State, I think you were kind of fooling yourself, to be quite honest. I don't think that's the case. And again, I understand why you're upset and unhappy about this game. I get that. But, you know, let's go ahead and play the second half, you know, and see what happens there. Right, and Michael, that's my point. Nobody wants Drinkwitz fired, nor should they. All the bad things are Ryan Walters' fault, though. That's exactly the point I was trying to make. No, Dan, that's a no way. Drinkwitz doesn't get off that easy. He doesn't get off, we're paying you $4 million to be the coach, and we're going to tell you who the DC is because we owe him $750,000. Nope, not that. That absolutely will not fly with me. I don't believe that for a second. He kept him because he didn't want to bring his guy from App State, and the defense was pretty good last year, and that's cool. I'm not saying he made a mistake or anything, but he chose him to be the defensive coordinator. Jim Sterk didn't choose it for him. Jim Sterk didn't really even choose the head coach, if we're being honest about how that thing went. Yeah, and Walters being a holdover, yeah, you're right. That is a factor. It was a factor at the beginning of Pinkel's career with some of the holdovers. It will be a factor here, and it's why I think Ryan will look around and may get another job because he isn't. He wasn't specifically brought here by the head coach, and that does factor in on coaching staffs. 100% it does. I don't know if they look flat. They just don't look good. I mean, they're just making, like, bad plays, and I don't think it's lack of effort or lack of energy or lack of want to. They just, I just don't think they just haven't played well. I mean, I don't think there's much else really to say about it. It's Justin Ferguson's fault, so we can blame him. He stepped up and took the blame. And, yeah, offense has to stop shooting itself in the foot, and defense has to get more pressure on the QB. That's one way. They could also cover better, But, yeah, you're right on both of them. Okay, so yeah, Drinkwitz could be or could entertain Muschamp as a defensive coordinator if he needs him. That's possible. Walters may have been boxed into a game plan due to the players they had available, but it looks bad in the moment. That's right. That's possible. Now, I'm not big on using COVID numbers for an excuse because I think every team is dealing with it, but we do at least have to acknowledge, hey, 3 of their starting secondary players are out for this game, and like they're playing guys that haven't been out there much. It is a factor. Now, with Mississippi State's offense, look, I don't know if that's all their starters or what the situation is, but again, it's not a complete excuse for Walters, but it is a factor. And actually, here's the other thing we need to do at halftime is we need to update the stats, and I don't think that you guys are really going to enjoy it when I do it. But let's see. Missouri does at least have more rushing yards at this point, so that's something. Passing yards, Missouri will not have the advantage here because Mississippi State has thrown it quite well and Missouri has thrown it quite just not well. I mean, they just haven't executed for the most part in the passing game. They've made a few plays here and there, but overall, I think the passing game has been pretty much off, the whole day. Turnovers still just 1-0. First downs, or I assume, are favoring Mississippi State. First downs, oddly, are still favoring Missouri, which seems weird to me. But it's 14-12. So not 21-12. So if you look at the numbers, like they're maybe a little closer than you'd expect, but that's what happens when you do when you muff a punt that turns into a touchdown. That makes a 7-point difference. So a game that could easily be 20-10 is now 27-10, and you're playing catch up the whole second half. And that one play, I mean, that's clearly the biggest play so far in this game. It really kind of swung everything. Let's see. Let's roll through some more of your comments. After the muff punt, there was no energy on the sideline, and Mississippi State's sideline was jacked the rest of the half. Too bad we don't have a basketball game. lack of Jaeger bombs is the problem. So yeah, plenty of potential issues. I would say the easiest way to fix this is play better. There you go. Breakfast King didn't have his good luck chili. That's a thing. So, plenty of blame to go around in this one for sure. But whoever's fault it is, Missouri probably wants to get it figured out. I've kind of almost forgotten the SEC title game was tonight, to be quite honest, because it's not a game that I'm super interested in, and I don't think it's going to be very close. Clemson up 17-3, so we'll go ahead and update that. So I think we're heading toward an Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Ohio State 3, Notre Dame 4. Would be my guess going into the playoffs, assuming that Clemson result holds. So this is kind of an interesting point. Clay says, our team next year will be just as young while losing Bolton, Gillespie, and Bledsoe. I don't think Walters will do any better than – I actually think I think Missouri could easily take a step back next year, like record-wise. Like I could see next year pretty easily being like a 6-6, maybe 7-5 type season, because they do lose a lot, and Drinkwitz is just starting to get things going, and it's going to take a minute to rebuild everything. So I could see next year being a little bit of a step back, but obviously that's a long way away, and we'll see. I mean, I thought they were going to be 3-7 coming into this year, so we'll see. Worst half of the season, I don't think it was worse than the first half against Tennessee, and I don't think it was worse than the second half against Georgia. It's in the conversation. Yeah, the punt return. Patrick's right on the punt return. Now look, fielding punts is a hard deal, and Cade Musser's been fine so far, but yeah, to not have been able to find anybody that can do it consistently is a little bit, discouraging, like you say. Yeah, and I agree with Mitchell. Not worse than the second half of last weekend. I mean, that was a brutal second half last weekend. Missouri, there wasn't one play where Missouri looked good in that second half last weekend. At least they made a couple plays today. So we're going to dial back Mitchell and see if things sound any better this time. So Mitchell,
Hello.
you're there. What's going on, man?
I'm back. Just posted my halftime thoughts on the board, which you all have largely heard on here, and got some new water ready to rumble.
Excellent. So I can hear you. Whether I don't know if you guys can comment at some point what the audio sounds like, but if there are issues, hopefully it's not too bad because I don't know. We've changed nothing.
Yeah. Let me know. I mean, I could always, I'm sitting kind of far away from my mic here. I could always switch to the mic that's on these headphones. Maybe that would help, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's about all the technological changes I'm capable of making.
Yeah, I can hear you. We've broken it all down at halftime and come
Have
to
you fired people?
Well, I've come to the conclusion that Missouri needs to play better in the second half. That was my analysis. I don't know how you feel about that. Eric and Josh say your audio's better. So.
Oh, good. I bet Missouri didn't think of that at halftime. Play better. That's good. Yeah, I mean, this is why the coaches have our audio running through their headphones.
I would love Drinkwitz's speech at halftime to simply be to go in there and be like, "Would you just play better? Like, I don't know what you're doing, but stop doing the bad things and do more good things.
Stop doing what you were doing on every phase and just do better."
Yeah.
So
actually, now that you're back, I'm going to break for a couple minutes and also refill my water and all that. I'll be back by halftime. You can hold it down till then. So I'm going to take myself off the screen and move it so there are not graphics like in the middle of your face, and then I'll be back in a few minutes.
Sounds good. So yeah, I just I'll just kind of reiterate what I wrote in my halftime thoughts. It was bad in all three phases, right? Like, offense, you had, I think, 4 plays combined for, was it negative 37 yards? Like, those are mostly drive killers. They overcame the first one, but you're not going to overcome those every time. Defense is bad all around. I mean, you've got, Mississippi State's averaging 8 yards a play, and you've got receivers running open pretty much every play, and then you gave up a touchdown on special teams. That's a recipe to get beat. The thing for me is I don't know how you fix the defense at this point. You've got 2 true freshmen playing corner. You've got a walk-on starting at safety. You've got another true freshman in Tyler Jones playing at safety. You've got redshirt freshman Jelani Williams in for Tyree Gillespie. Nick Bolton is not healthy. I mean, he's probably better than your backups, but he's not moving around all that well. So I think, you need guys to come up with some plays on that side of the ball. I don't think you're going to consistently, totally shut Mississippi State down, but you've got to come up with a turnover or 2. You've got to come up with a stop on this first drive. But because of that, you need the offense to play a lot better, because Mississippi State's you're not going to shut them out in this half. And Mississippi State's defense has looked somewhat susceptible, but you need Connor Bazelak to play better. You need to get something going in the passing game. You can't give up on the run game yet, obviously, but you're not going to overcome a 3-score deficit by handing the ball off every play. So, and obviously you got to clean up the special teams issues, but that's a given. They're not going to win if they have another muff punt. So I think you pretty much have to have a stop on this first drive to try to stem the momentum, and I think you pretty much have to have a turnover. Probably 2 at some point in the second half. I see our man Justin Ferguson, who has boots on the ground there in Starkville, says the rain is right outside of Starkville. I wonder what, Justin, if you're still listening, comment what's the temperature? I see most people are wearing short sleeves. Are we at any chance of a freezing rain, like a sleet snow situation, or is it too warm for that? Let us know. Any other updates from the ground? You keep us posted. You've been the MVP of this show so far. So, I'll go through some of these other comments here. Bryce Isbell says, Dave just posted, I see that's Dave Matter, just posted that Mizzou has 1 turnover in the last 14 quarters. The idea that turnovers will get Mizzou back in this is likely not based in reality. Yeah, well, here's the thing. It may be unlikely that Missouri's getting turnovers in the second half, but I think that's kind of you need at least 1, maybe 2, to get back in this. And while that maybe, is based off of, this season, not likely, I think that's your only chance. You're down 17 points and Mississippi State has the ball. And turnovers do tend to come in bunches, and Mississippi State has been prone to them. But yeah, it's not, I'm not out here saying it's going to happen. Justin says Walters has abandoned the 4 safeties they had and brought in another cornerback. Bledsoe could not cover Wally. Yeah, that's honestly, maybe a good adjustment, but that is something I question Walters on, because Bledsoe struggled covering slot. He's their slot corner, he's their nickel cover, but he's not been amazing, at least against Arkansas. He could not cover Treylon Burks. He was their best option against Terrence Marshall and LSU, but he could not cover Treylon Burks. And I think you're better off with a true corner like Rakestraw on the other team's best receiver, no matter where he's lining up. Bob Douglas with a compliment. I appreciate it. I appreciate your dedication to watching and lifting everyone's spirits. So yeah, I just saw the first play of the half, defensive holding. The graphic says it was on Micah Wilson. I believe that is incorrect. I believe it was in a Rakestraw, unless Micah Wilson is a deep disguise. So obviously not an ideal start. That's a first down. I think Gabe is about to hop back on.
All right, I came back.
Yeah, Ennis Rakestraw held on the first play of the second half, which gave Mississippi State a first down, but the graphic on TV said it was Michael Wilson, and I said, unless he's in deep disguise, I don't think that's accurate.
I feel bad for Michael Wilson getting blamed for things in a game he's not even at.
Yeah. So what Missouri's doing, we've determined, is they moved Josh Bledsoe off of Jaden Wally in the slot. They have Rakestraw shadowing Wally, it seems. I mean, obviously we don't have a huge sample size here. It's early in the half, but they did the same in the second half as well. And they've got Carlisle and Chris Mills out at the wide corners, and then they have Bledsoe and Jelani Williams deep. So basically.
So what about Martez Manuel? Is he not even out there?
Yeah, he's out there as well.
Okay.
He's out there doing his.
So
he's
7
doing his normal
DBs
thing.
basically, or 6 DBs?
6 DBs.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's same as it was. Just instead of Bledsoe playing the nickel corner, they have Rakestraw playing that, and Chris Mills is a third cornerback in the game. So, and then now Mason Pack's off the field.
Gotcha. Well,
All right. Well, 3rd and 4. This would be a good time to get a stop.
do you want me to tell you if they do?
I mean, I don't care.
Okay.
You can tell me.
Because they do not.
Okay. I felt like I would have heard the
Yeah.
comments if they had.
Yeah. I mean, and just they pretty brutal missed tackle out in the flat. I'm not sure if it would have stopped him short of the marker, but like again, that's the play you have to make against this offense.
Honestly, it was a nice play design. I thought basically a legal pick block there on the one guy that could make the play. I mean, I don't think there was a missed tackle, but he had the first down.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you ahead of me again, by the way, or did you just know
No,
from
I
looking
looked at
Snap?
Gamecast. I'm actually going to refresh my feed and see if I can catch up. Sometimes I
Okay.
just like to do that.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a clock where it loses like a couple seconds every day.
Yeah, except in this case, it's like every drive.
Yeah, right. So I just saw an incomplete pass at the 25-yard line, and it appears they've called pass interference on. I think that's Chris Mills.
Now you're back ahead of me.
Yeah. And that was PI. I mean, So, I mean, they're going to be down at least 3. They're going to be down 3 scores here. So.
Yes, I mean, they're already down 3 scores.
But, right.
So
I guess
points is 3
still
scores. So,
they'll actually just be down 3 scores because.
yeah. Well, there's a big difference between 20 and 24.
Right. But theoretically, it would be a 3-score game.
Yeah. I tried to refresh my stream and it has yet to return, so that's not ideal.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm back.
You'll probably be back ahead of me.
Yeah. I'm watching. Yeah, I don't know that I really missed anything, actually.
Yeah, they're at like the 27.
Right. 1st and 10.
I mean, that's now. See, here's the issue: if you're going to give that guy that much time in the pocket, you got to be closer than 8 yards away from the running back when he catches the ball.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I know that's only a 4-yard gain, but again, it's 2nd and 6 now. You can do pretty much anything you want.
Yeah, I mean that's tough. You're trying to keep stuff in front of you when you're dropping a lot of guys to play. That was only a 2-yard gain. I'm going to go ahead and say that's not
3.
that play loss.
Yeah, 3-yard gain, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mitchell Bennett just got a cookie the size of his face, so good for him.
That sounds good.
Justin Ferguson says Chris Abrams' drain is coming in. They're trying everything.
That means
now.
he's in a corner. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess
We'll have to
instead
see.
of Mills. I'm looking for him right now.
Well, I think
see him.
Justin's
He's
at
he's
the
at
game.
The top of our
Ooh.
screen. No, I know, but he's at the top. That 2nd down play, I think he was at the top of the TV broadcast screen. I saw him 15.
Okay, so we got a targeting call coming up. I don't know if that's. I assume it's going to be Carlise that they're looking at.
Jeez, I mean, if they lose a corner, wow.
I don't know how you finish the game.
No.
Yeah, I want to see a replay. I mean, it was
So,
a big hit. I don't know if it was.
It doesn't
targeting.
look like they called targeting on the field, right?
Correct. It's a booth review, like
Yeah.
the one against Errol Thompson was.
Right. But they called that one on the field, I thought.
Oh, did they?
Oh, they also I'm now saying graphic ruling on the field targeting.
Okay.
So
Okay. Bob Douglas wants me to leave and have it just be you again, Mitch. So I could take off.
I don't think I could talk the whole time by myself. I don't really know how you do that in most weeks.
I was looking down at Bob Douglas's comment and missed the replay, so I don't know if he.
I just
everybody seems to agree it was targeting.
Yeah, it's tough. Like the receiver's not defenseless, but there's helmet-to-helmet contact.
Yeah, and he's leading with his helmet.
Right. So I think it's.
I think he's probably out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we seriously may be seeing Tyler Jones in the game. Like he hadn't played this year, right?
He's
At least on
today.
defense, he's played. Okay.
He's played today at safety.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good call. I think it's targeting. So now your corners are Rakestraw and
Chris Mills. Chris Abrams strain, I guess.
We might see Sean Robinson out there pretty soon.
Seriously. I mean, this is. I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, I don't know how you can come back when you have basically one cornerback.
You're right. You have nobody on defense for a defense that hasn't been playing well. Also, your offense hasn't been playing well. I mean, like, I seriously think you have to go to like Martez Manuel and say, "Can you play corner?"
Yeah.
Or
like
Bledsoe, or
they've got a few other safeties. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know which ones are best equipped to do it.
Chris Abrams Drain is playing corner right now. He's at the top of the screen. Again, wide receiver.
That makes it tough. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Mississippi State can run right down the middle. I mean, yeah, I just don't see.
Well, and that's the biggest problem. I mean, Mississippi State came into this game averaging 1.4 yards a carry. They're averaging 5.8 yards a carry today. Like, they've only done it 11 times, but, you know, that's pretty bad. I don't know what J Mark's first name is, but it's just written down as J in the game casts.
It's a big one. I think it's Joe Quavius.
Okay, it's just going to be J then.
Yeah. I typed that this week and was like, oh dear.
Okay, I've never heard of him. But
yeah.
Good for him, I guess.
Well, I mean, I think we're at the point where we're saying this is.
It would be.
This is a loss.
I mean, it would be stunning if they came back.
Yeah.
Now, the only good thing, I think, is, like, you've gotten down this far pretty early. Like, there's a lot of time left, you know? So, if there's anything to feel good about, like, I don't know, at least you'll get 4 more possessions. But, yeah, I mean, I'm going to look at the Mississippi State schedule again. I know they scored 44 on LSU, but I'm going to assume that's...
No, I don't think they scored 24 in a game since then, until now.
They scored 24 on Vandy.
Not more than 24.
Not more than
24 a couple times, yeah.
Okay, let's see, yeah. 14 against Arkansas, 2 against Kentucky, 14 against A&M, none against Alabama, 24 on Vandy, 24 on Georgia, 24 on Ole Miss, 10 on Auburn. So, yeah, look, I'm not going to die on the hill that Ryan Walters is doing a good job today. Or
no, absolutely not.
The Missouri defense has really been very good all season. So it's not great. If Missouri were to need anybody to review a contract, though, they could call the people at Call and Gentry Law Group, and they might be able to get some excellent advice on how to get out of a $900,000 per year commitment with minimal damage. Call and Gentry does sponsor this watch along every week. We would like you to check them out. CallGentry.com. You can go see them in person. Their office is open at 3218 Emerald Lane, Suite C in Jefferson City. You can call them at 573-644-6090. Again, 573-644-6090. They'll help you out with all your legal needs. And hope you guys, I hope you don't have the need for them, but if you have the need for them, I hope you use them. So, I don't know at this point. I mean, first of all, you're going to have to score every time you touch the ball to have a chance, right? I mean, let's start there. The next time you don't score, the game's over. And
you have to score, and you have to get some. You have to luck into
get
a
multiple
turnover
stops.
too.
Yeah, no question.
I mean, but then you're talking about a defense that hasn't gotten turnovers all season and is now super depleted. I mean, like it would have to be like I think almost a luck deal.
Right, no question. And now this is where we're getting into what I was talking about at halftime, which is you get way too high and way too low. I'm glad signing day was before this game. Like, nobody would watch this game and say I'm not going there. I mean,
right.
Like, I promise you guys, Missouri is better this year than most people expected, and that includes the recruits. They were not under the delusion that Missouri fired its coach because next year it was going to the college football playoff. 5-5 in the SEC. They're going to have the 6th best record in the league. I mean, that's not bad. That's a decent season.
Look, we both picked them to go 3-7, and so no matter what, today, this is a successful, impressive season. I mean, this game just doesn't change that.
Right.
It just doesn't.
And here's the truth of the matter: Missouri fans are sitting here today going, "I can't believe we're getting run off the field by Mississippi State." Right. I promise you, Kentucky fans and South Carolina fans can't believe they lost to Missouri. They're all in the same group. This is the same. They're all the same team. You know, I mean.
Yeah. Right. You get a very similar talent level for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, also, obviously, we know more now, but if this same thing had played out in week 2 or week 3 or whatever, no one really would have batted an eye.
Right.
I mean, it would have been it's a new coach. They're still building things here. Especially if they were this shorthanded on defense. So I don't know. It's not fun for anyone, but it's just not. I just don't think there's a need to.
It's not a crisis.
React we're going to lose recruits and people need to be fired.
Yeah. No. I mean.
That first down play was.
That's
weird.
another. First of all, there were 2 receivers in the same place, and it almost looked like 3 guys were covering one, and that's the one Bazelak threw to.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Damon Hazelton should have made a bit more of an effort for that one. I don't know. It was pretty far behind him, but that was just.
I'm not sure who that was thrown to. Even
I'm not either.
And somebody almost certainly had to run the wrong route, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And so, Sir Mufflebuns brings up the point that I was wanting to make. This year is putting the foundation in place. So, for 7 years now, and that's not an exaggeration, Missouri has been 12th, 13th, or 14th in the league in recruiting. And you're 5-5 this year. So 12th in recruiting, 13th in recruiting, 14th in recruiting. You're 6th in the league. Well, now this year, you're 8th in recruiting. And so the goal is to next year be 8th in recruiting, and the year after that be 8th in recruiting, and then see if that translates onto the field. But this was never, ever a one-year project. I mean, it just – and we just – we were talking about this last night, Mitch. Too often we fall into the trap thinking that these players are robots or chess pieces that you just kind of toss out there and they automatically do the right thing. Well, that's not how it works. That's why there are upsets, because sometimes – they don't do the right thing, and they just don't play well, and that's what's happening today.
Yeah, and it's tough because, when you're dealing with, college-age kids in an emotional sport, and especially end of a season, it's really easy, when for mistakes to spiral and combine, right? When one side of the ball is playing poorly, and you're all beat up and kind of don't want to be there, it's easy to just it's hard to stem that momentum. It's easy for, these things to snowball, and I kind of think that's what's happening here.
Yeah. And we did talk about, Mitchell brings up a good point. We've made a lot of his record when the spread was within 7 points either way. This is going to be the first loss on that record.
Yeah, bit of a tough loss here. I mean, for that stat, it's now dead.
Yeah. I would be stunned. And he has plenty of company, so I don't want to harp on one guy, but it's tough to overcome a bad day from your quarterback. And I think he's now having – I think it's now gone from a to bad. I mean, this is
with
a
that
bad
interception, it did. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's 10 of 19 for 97 yards and a pick. You're not winning Larry Rountree has almost as many rushing yards as Bazelak does passing yards. You're not winning that way.
Yeah, and especially when you throw in the number of negative plays.
Right. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, like it's just one of those things. Like they've done almost nothing right. Like the running offense has been okay, and everything else has been bad.
Right.
Everything.
It's
Even your center has been made like a huge big mistake.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a lot like last week, where I guess we can sit and waste his time for 15 minutes asking questions, but what's he going to say? Because kind of like, what are we going to say? I mean, yeah, it was just all bad. Everything was pretty. Well, you went up 7-0, and that was good. And then as soon as that punt happened, it was just like everything was bad after that.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a good point. What am I going to write in my story? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I might just write, it was all bad.
I have to somehow come up with 15 thoughts on this game in the next couple days. Maybe I'll just write I'll write one thought on every bad play. I'll have more than 15.
Have more than 15.
Yeah.
Justin has a suggestion for us in the post game. I mean, I don't know. Yes, we can. I guess that can be a question. He's saying, I don't know if it's on the screen for you all. Like asking about always compete. Yes, but you're not going to get anywhere with all of a sudden accusing them of not competing.
Basically, that question is, do you think your team tried hard today?
Right.
And I've seen nothing that says they're not trying. They're not playing well, but this team has not quit all season.
I predict he will go out of his way to say that without being asked. Also.
Yeah, and I'll just be honest. Mitch won't say it. That's a poor question. That's a question you don't ask. That's an emotional reaction, and that's not a question to ask in a press conference that way. Look, I have asked coaches before, do you think your team quit? I've asked them, but that's not fair to this team, I don't think. Sean Robinson apparently coming in on defense. Also,
that's exciting.
Earlier,
that's going in the notebook.
Yeah, Clay Bierk said David Gibbs' promotion, if you want to replace Walters and keep it cheap, he called a hell of a game against South Carolina. Here's the thing. Do we think that David Gibbs called a far different defense against South Carolina than Ryan Walters would have called against South Carolina or called in other games? Or do we think his players played well?
Right. Yeah. And
Ryan Walters called a hell of a game against Kentucky.
And South Carolina was bad in that game.
Right.
They couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that Gibbs would have no chance at the job. That's not my point. My point is just, if that's the reason he gets a promotion, then just keep Walters. He's called good games too.
You're right. You're not firing Ryan Walters to promote David Gibbs. First of all, you're not firing Ryan Walters, period.
I would be surprised if they did, but I was saying I'm not sure he'll be here next year because I could see him as the holdover, not really the guy on the staff, looking for something this offseason.
Oh, I could too. I'm just saying I don't think he's getting fired. Also, fumble. Mizzou's got it.
See, so don't you tell me about how those turnovers don't happen. Yeah. Sean Robinson's on the pile, too.
He is. Yeah.
Did he actually get the recovery?
No, I think Kobe Whiteside did.
I feel like Kobe should hand him the ball on the pile and let Robinson have it.
Yeah.
How did number 2 for Mississippi State not get that is what I want to know.
Oh, I think you might be ahead of me again. I haven't seen a replay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 is Rogers, though. I know that.
How are we only 7 minutes into the third quarter? It feels to me like the third quarter's been going for an hour.
Yeah.
That was a really awkward-looking play, fumble, whatever, too. So, obviously, look, I don't want to start pumping sunshine, but if you score here, you could be in a 2-score game with 22 minutes left to play.
Right. No, I mean, there is a lot of time left. Really, it's stunning since we've basically already done a postmortem on this game.
Right.
But there is a full quarter and a half to play. So, yeah. it's not like, I mean, I did say, like, if they could luck into a turnover or two, like, that is their only shot. So, and they did. So, I mean, it's not over, especially if they score here, which close. And obviously, you're in 4-down territory.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and Dalton Barker brings up the best point. Walters needs to call the sack strip play more often.
That's
it's not hard.
I don't know. I bet they can hear us again. I bet he'll dial that one up again since we brought it up.
So Stewart's asking about Tyler Beatty. He has 1 carry for 3 yards and 2 catches for 16. So
not a ton of touches.
Yeah. So you're in 4th and 1 from the 5. Clearly, you're not kicking field goal.
No, this is if you don't convert this, it's.
Oh well, never mind. I already know what happens. So.
I think I do too, but we will still react to it semi-organically.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, so all right, so quarterback sneak goes absolutely nowhere. It looked like maybe Xavier Delgado
might have lost yardage.
Yeah, he got blown up, but there was a flag. I don't see what the flag is. Is it too many men or something on Mississippi State? Offsides.
Oh, okay.
On Mississippi State. So that's obviously, I mean, that's a bit of a bailout, but it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Like, it's not like they're playing Alabama here. Like this,
right.
When it was a 17-point game, it was, not like an insurmountable deficit because Mississippi State is mistake prone, but I'm not going to say it's, back to being like anybody's game, but it's not totally over.
I mean, it's still theoretically it could happen. I mean, and obviously you're going for 2, and hey, it worked. And I mean, again, you're now in a 2-score game, and there's 22 minutes left in the game. So.
And also the very elusive passing touchdown for Missouri.
Yeah, just the 6th this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Cam Cameron's asking about Beatty, and that is one of the things that is, it's weird,
I'll be honest, I don't really understand it either, because Drinkman sits up there and always tells us, like, yeah, that's on me, I got to give him the ball more.
Right.
He just kind of doesn't.
Right, yeah. And that'll obviously change. Like you said, when Rountree's gone, he'll get more carries, but still.
And the 2-point conversion is good as well.
Is there any reason to not attempt an onside here? Actually, I don't hate that idea at all, because you haven't stopped him. If you give him the ball at the 45, who cares?
Right, they're probably going to score other way. Although I guess I will say, you
just did get a stop.
Right, you do, and you do want them to just run more plays to you, so you have more chance of a turnover.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because you just got to stop, maybe your defense, feels good. But I would not hate an onside kick here, except for the fact that I think they would probably kind of be looking for it.
Right.
Yeah, first, I thought that was Chisholm's first touchdown. But again, Missouri's only thrown 6, so he hasn't had a lot of opportunities.
Right. Also, I can't get over the fact that there's still a quarter and a half left in this game.
I mean, this quarter alone has been 40 minutes, right?
It seems that way, yes.
So, let's see. 34-18. I mean, yeah, Missouri's still getting outgained by almost 100 yards, but, penalties even, first down's pretty much even, third down conversions pretty much even. Mississippi State averaging 2.9 yards more per play, which that's not a great number for you. I can hear you typing. It's quite loud.
Nice. Just updating the people on the live updates.
I got you.
I don't know who reads that, but that's...
Oh, here you go. We found out who we saw at Logboat last night. It was Champ Caldwell. So good to see you, Champ.
Nice.
Appreciate you jumping in here. This is not punishment for that. It may be punishment for something, but it's not punishment specifically for that. So
what's punishment?
He asked if this game was his punishment for talking to us last night.
Oh, no. It was, really, he didn't talk to us too much. Like, it was just kind of a hello,
right.
Which we appreciated.
Yeah. We need to figure out a way to get pressure on the quarterback. I mean, that's what got the turnover on the last last drive. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely been absent for a lot of the game. But,
Bob Douglas says he and you are typing back and forth, so you can carry on with your conversation.
Yeah, you got me. Obviously, I wasn't updating the thread. I was texting Bob Douglas.
Right. Also, this game would be over if the commercials didn't last 9.5 minutes apiece.
Mm-hmm.
How many is Clemson winning by now? 600?
I don't know. It's commercial. I'll have to let you know when it comes back.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to the scoreboard, but it's 24-3 at halftime. Not a great game.
No, I mean, I think Notre Dame is in the playoff no matter what, right?
I mean, if
like,
they
what,
get
what
beat,
if they lose 56-3?
right?
48-3.
But they still beat Clemson. Who? What's A&M's good win? What's their best
Right.
win? Florida.
No, I'm taking Notre Dame over A&M for sure.
And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Because Iowa State's now out. Even Ohio State. I take Notre Dame over Ohio State. Ohio State did nothing.
Right. And if you're penalizing Notre Dame for getting blown out by a really good team, well, A&M lost to Alabama by like 35.
Right. And if you're penalizing, you would really be penalizing Notre Dame in that case for playing 12 games. Like they had to play another game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've already beaten this team.
Yeah.
So, would you bring pressure from a corner to get after the quarterback? I'm not. I mean, bring it from. I don't know. I don't know if you blitz. I don't.
I mean, you've
know.
got people playing corner who hardly.
I mean,
know how
Missouri
to play
got pressure
corner,
there with 3.
Blitz. Yeah.
Whiteside and McGuire end up getting a sack there.
You have to try to get the pressure with 3. I don't know that you can really blitz, especially with a defensive back, because your defensive backs hardly know how to play their actual positions.
Snoop brings up a good point. The offense has to be getting tired from running up and down the field so much, so maybe they'll just be worn out.
Maybe that's why Missouri's getting the pressure. Could be playing into their hands. It's a big third down.
You're on third down already?
All right. 3rd and 3.
Yeah, I must be playing this at like 3/4 speed or something. Yeah.
Mississippi State went over the top, and it was very open. Mizzou currently playing both Sean Robinson and Chris Abrams-Drain in the defensive backfield.
So they have 2 offensive players in the secondary, basically.
Yeah. I mean, really, if we want to talk about what went wrong in this game. Also, they tried to blitz on that one. It did not work.
Right, and you've got it down to a 2-score game, and now you've let them go in 4 plays 60 yards. Or 50 yards or something like that. Yeah, they did blitz, and Devin Nicholson didn't get there, and Jelani Williams just got
There's a solo tackle for Sean Robinson on first down.
There you go.
It looked fine on that play, too. I mean, wow.
Jaden Walley's a pretty good player.
He is. Good for Sean Robinson. That's pretty cool. I know it's not the circumstances you would want to come in, but like, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting on the field. To me, that's by far the most discouraging part. It's just the running game. I mean, Mississippi State now has 16 carries, which is their season average. On the year, they average 23 yards on those 16 carries. Tonight, it's 78. I mean,
if they're getting that, they're almost impossible to stop.
If you want
to bank on them being one-dimensional,
like you have to be able to stop one of the things. if you're not covering it all, you should be committing. Like it was interesting. Last week, Drinkwitz was asked about the one-on-one coverage in the secondary and stuff like that, and he said, well, we couldn't stop the run, so we committed extra guys to stop the run, and then we gave up the pass. And what I wanted to say, I mean, I didn't, but you still didn't stop the run then either. You didn't really do either thing. Like, you might have committed extra guys to do it, but it wasn't working. So, Oh, hey, we've got the turnover row back out.
Yeah, I said when you were gone, someone said, like, what, you really expect a team that has like 14 turnovers in their last 14 games or something like that to get 2 in the second half? And I said they do come in bunches.
Yeah, so
I want to see who gets the interception here.
I could tell you.
Well, I'm about to see it, I think.
Yeah.
Bledsoe.
Bit
of an ill-advised throw there.
Yeah, but also, like, nice coverage.
Yeah.
So, look, I mean, you're still in this game. I mean, it takes some serious things to happen, but you're in it. The defense has now gotten 2 stops in a row. Like, they have done, at least for now, their part. That doesn't mean they're playing a great game, but they have done their part on the last 2 drives.
That's kind of what I said at halftime. It's like, you can't expect this defense, as shorthanded as it is, to stop Mississippi State. So you need them to luck into some turnovers. Yeah. And they're kind of doing that. I mean, it's not total luck, but like that.
They deserve credit.
Yeah.
It's severe SEC alternate slacking by getting no shot of the turnover row, by the way.
Yeah.
But what are we doing here?
True.
I mean, that's the only thing we need.
Yeah. That should be automatic at this point.
And see, the other good thing for Missouri is you still have time to hand the ball to Larry Rountree. I mean,
so much time. Yeah.
You don't just have to wing the ball up and down the field. He's got 22 for 108 now, so he's 41 yards from 1,000 on the season. I'll say this. If he gets to that number, Missouri wins the game. How's that?
I don't know.
It's probably wrong, but it seemed like a good thing to say.
But it would be a good sign, because it would mean they're not just totally chasing points.
Exactly.
But there's also so much time, I think, and the defense is struggling so bad. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, yeah. So I think this is about going to end it, though.
Need to see it. See who to blame.
Well, stat broadcast is frozen, so I can't even go there. We just got to see it happen.
Oh man, I mean that's just another inaccurate deep ball.
Yeah, that ball should never be intercepted.
I thought that should have been like a back shoulder.
Yeah,
given how it was obviously seeing it when the ball's already in the air or how they were situated, but no, yeah. First of all, you're throwing deep down the sideline to a guy who's like 5'10".
But
which is losing proposition, but also it's just not an accurate throw.
I mean, right. The worst case scenario on that throw is it should be incomplete. There's no way you should intercept that because it's fine coverage, but that was a bad throw. And he's made quite a few of them, honestly.
I think it's safe to say this is his worst game.
This is the worst we've seen him play, I think. I mean, at least he threw it deep enough downfield that, it was kind of like a short punt.
Yeah. But Missouri needed points.
Well, yeah. Unless they can just get another one. Just take it away. Now instead of touchdowns every possession, now it's just turnovers every possession.
That would be entertaining.
Or 15-yard runs.
Yeah, Mississippi State's ability to run the ball's got to be pretty discouraging.
Did you say Mississippi State hasn't run for 100 all year, correct?
No, they haven't run for more than 88, 89, I think.
They've now run for 91.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, their passing game is fine. 19 to 32 for 267. It's solid, but it's not ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Also, again, at this point, the Missouri defense has given up 27 points and has 2 takeaways. Like, that's not awful, right?
Right. No,
well, they just gave up like a 45-yard catch. Rakestraw just gave up a 45-yard catch down the sideline.
But given all their limitations, like, you would think, like, okay, that's not total disaster, but you would think that, you'd think the offense would have done more with it, and you also wouldn't bank on, giving up 7 on a muff punt.
Yeah, and that was a very nice catch, a nice adjustment by the Mississippi State receiver. It looked like Rakestraw was there and had trouble kind of finding the ball a little bit to me.
Yeah. I'm watching the replay now.
Wait, they ruled it incomplete?
Oh, I don't know. I can't tell on this laptop screen.
I think he caught it. I can't believe it was ruled incomplete.
I don't know. I could see them saying call stance because it's close.
I mean, there's no angle from the back that shows you if it hit the ground.
Right. Looks like a catch to me.
It looks like a catch to me, too. His arm was under. I don't see that as incomplete, but...
No, but I could see them saying call stance with the lack of evidence.
I could see them saying we're going to stay here till 7:30.
Yeah.
The good news is postgame shouldn't take long because they'll want to get out of town.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Looks like they're saying incomplete.
That's intriguing.
Mizzou all of a sudden is getting some fortunate breaks in the second half.
I mean, that's a thing where I think, again, reverting to the call on the field is the wrong way to do it. Because everything I see there tells me that's a catch.
I can go on a log rant about how much I hate call stands.
Right.
I hate it. I think it's dumb because a lot of times officials call plays knowing
default.
that replay will have the back, like say, okay, we'll rule that a fumble because turnover plays automatically reviewed, scoring plays automatically reviewed, or whatever. But even that notwithstanding, if you have 6 different ankles and slow-mo replays, use that instead of defaulting to the ref who's 30 yards away.
Right, and you can get a pretty good idea. It might not be irrefutable, but you can get a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not going to matter that was incomplete anyway, but
yeah, I think call stance is a bad. I've long hated it.
Yeah. I've long hated watching replays of that play. Like, I get it. Let's move on.
Yeah. Mizzou really, they're fairly dependent on having someone hurry Will Rogers.
Right, and look, that was clearly zone defense. I mean, that was zone deep. They're doing they're not doing it very well, but they're doing it.
They're also playing 2 offensive players back there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they have to somehow get pressure with 3 or 4 guys.
Yeah. Which is difficult because even though Leach's offense is weird, they still do play 5 offensive linemen.
Yeah, they do.
All right, so into the third quarter, we're going to update the stats. It's probably not going to be super. Mississippi State is actually out-rushing Mizzou now.
That's insane.
Yeah. Despite the fact that Larry Rountree has 108 rushing yards, Missouri has actually only run for 82.
That's when you have some difficult, very big negative plays.
Yeah. But the biggest thing, Missouri's thrown for 127 yards. You're just not winning football games these days doing that.
No.
There's no way.
Especially with how tattered Missouri's defense is. I mean, maybe if this was the Kentucky game, but when you've got a defense that's just, beat to shreds, like you have to get more from your offense to your quarterback.
And let's yes, the defense has been bad, but we're focusing way too much on that. Missouri has 209 yards of total offense.
Ooh.
209. That's garbage.
That's not going to get it done.
No. So it is. My point is, yes, the defense has contributed to the loss, but this is a total team loss. Like, every phase has been bad. And now I'm going to call 100%. It a loss. Like, they're not coming back at this point.
Not unless Mississippi State misses a field goal or doesn't get points on this drive.
And turns it over, right.
If Mississippi State gets points on this drive, I think it's pretty much over.
And, I mean, special teams was bad. They've lost the turnover battle. They've been outplayed in every facet. And everybody gets to wear that. Everybody involved with it. Yeah. Except Sean Robinson, because he's a quarterback playing safety.
Right, and yeah, for sure. There's, that's like a neat little story. Like, Rountree's been fine, but for the most part, everyone is involved, is at fault.
Yeah. Breakfast King says I should have just left the stats as they were. Sorry about that, man. I went ahead and updated them. They didn't get prettier.
I'm going to refresh my stream, see if I can gain a few seconds back.
I'm going to refresh mine and see if somehow the game is just magically over.
That would be nice. They just say, we didn't think Mizzou was coming back.
Running clock.
We're just going to call it.
No, I'm still in commercial.
The best. Covering a high school game that got running clock, that was like hitting the lottery.
I liked it when they did it at the Delaware State game a few years ago that ended up 79-0.
That's pretty bad.
It was by far the worst time I've ever had covering a game. It was a complete waste of a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Might as well have had the black and gold, Gabe.
Oh, that would have been far more competitive. All right, so let's see. How about we'll come back on, and here we are. I agree. It feels like this game has lasted for 5 hours. Totally agree.
Yeah, it's been pretty slow. I mean, 3 hours through 3 quarters. So,
yeah.
It's good.
Clay's basically asking if the recency bias hurts as far as bowl games. I really do. Dave Matter was saying earlier this week it's being done by record. They're going through teams by record and saying, where do you want to go? Now, what this does is it knocks Missouri behind Auburn. Auburn's going to finish Auburn finished 6-4. Missouri is going to finish 5-5. Let's check what the Ole Miss LSU situation.
Last I saw it,
LSU's winning.
Yeah.
37-27. So that would make LSU 5-5, but Missouri beat LSU and Ole Miss 4-6. So, again, Missouri would be tied for 6th in the league if LSU hangs on and wins that game, which is I get it. Like, you're not thrilled, but you got to look at the whole picture.
Yeah. And I think also, keep in mind with bowl games this year, there's not the fan element, the ticket sold element isn't an issue.
Right.
So there's no reason to, have the whole like politicking, like, our bowl wants this team, even though they wouldn't be the next team in the pecking order. Like, it's just going to be straight by record, like you said.
Well, and so, here's the deal with this league. We talked a lot about this after the Georgia game. It is the gap between the top 4 and everybody else. So the top 4 teams in this league were Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and A&M. They finished a combined 33-5. I mean, what you don't have
is all SEC competition.
Right. And so you've only got one team that went 0-9, but so what you have is a bunch of 500 and sub 500 teams to make up for that 28 games over 500 that those teams are. So you've got a whole bunch of 5-5, 4-6, 3-7. Tennessee was 3-7. Mississippi State's going to be 3-7. I think Kentucky maybe was 3-7. They might even have been 2-8.
I mean, if there wasn't a dagger already, there it is.
Yeah. That's going to do it for sure. Brad Cumbest. First time I've heard his name today, so good for him.
Same.
That's going to do it. Will Rogers having a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
It helps.
And remember, he's also he's a true freshman.
He is, yeah.
You know. So.
No, I mean, I think he could be their quarterback of the future.
And that was Manuel that was beaten on that. Just nothing very much went well.
No.
So, be interested to see. And Dan brings up a good point. If I'm Nick Bolton, I sit out the bowl game. Like, I think that's possible. I would if I was him. And, if he plays, good for him. But if he chooses not to play, not one Missouri fan can complain about it.
No, especially because I'm not sure he's healthy. I'm kind of impressed he's still playing at this juncture of the season if he's not 100% physically. So,
he doesn't seem to.
You've gotten so much from him.
Yeah. So Davin was asking if Jarrett Guarantano played today and then entered the transfer portal. I'll check their stats. I don't think he probably played today. I think Harrison Bailey was their quarterback, but I'll look at it. JT Shrout led led Tennessee 6 for 14 for 104 yards. Guarantano did not play. So we're a full service live streaming service.
I'm checking the Broncos score.
Yeah, how's that going?
Bills are up 21-13 at half.
No.
My brother tells me that the Broncos kicker, Brandon McManus, is out with COVID, and the backup kicker has missed a short field goal and an extra point.
I feel like it's better to play a game with a backup kicker than a wide receiver at quarterback, though.
Yeah, probably a slight upgrade. Apparently Drew Lock has a touchdown, so good for him.
Yeah.
Apparently he's been playing all right.
All right, so we'll see how long people want to stick around here. I mean, we've still got a decent number of people watching, which it's fairly impressive because I'm not sure what's left. I forgot to update the score. They're now losing 41-18. But, hey, you made up a point there. You traded 8 for 7, so if you can just do that 23 more times, you'll be in a tie game.
Mm-hmm. That seems possible. 23 touchdowns both ways in the fourth quarter.
I somehow have a random ESPN video playing in the background, so sorry about that.
Yeah, I was going to say I could hear that.
Yeah, it was on the box score of the Tennessee game.
Christian Holmes is tweeting about Sean Robinson. Former Missouri corner and current. They played. Sean Robinson was on the team last year.
Oh, right. Okay.
Christian Holmes was on the team. Yeah, Christian Holmes, for current Missouri or Oklahoma State corner, says, "I'm here to see Sean Robinson lower his pads today. Kid is flying around. Ultimate team guy."
Yeah, I mean him and Abrams drain. Sorry about that.
Is this the blooper reel?
Yeah, he and Abrams drain really do deserve credit, though. I think for
sure.
I mean,
again, they'll get us some love in the notebook.
Well, then I feel like it's mission accomplished.
Yeah, that's what everyone lives for, to be mentioned in the Power Mizzou notebook.
They're all searching their names on Power Mizzou.
Well, they do like to search their names on social media / the internet.
Breakfast King of Loyola says he's only still here because he's too lazy to close his browser. So.
Cool. We'll take it.
I mean, yeah, whatever. We don't care why you're here.
Yeah.
Hopefully a few ads pop up while you're watching.
Yeah, feel free to if you all want to
close it and reopen it
in the comments, throw whatever out there in the comments. I'm down to talk about things other than this football game.
We're not necessarily trying to break down this game. There's not a whole lot left, and I assume Mitch, you'll jump off with a few minutes left.
Yeah. Write some things
because I think you could actually just start writing pretty. Hey, the 24th ranked San Jose State Spartans are leading Boise State 16-3.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, I mean they're going to win a conference title. Who knew?
Yeah,
definitely not me.
Tyler Beatty got a touch and then promptly left the game, but
he got his 4th touch of the game.
Mm-hmm. It was a nice catch on a less than perfect throw.
It was, yeah. Yeah, Bazelak's just been off today. Like, he hasn't been very good.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be interested to see how Drinkwitz characterizes his performance.
I mean, he hasn't been shy to say it's been bad in the past.
I was going to say he hasn't been shy, although he's been more willing to be critical after wins, I think, than losses. He doesn't want to just, it's kind of sort of what we do. It's like when people are really happy after a game, sometimes he likes to point out that some things went wrong, and when people are like, what the hell was that? He's like, well, it wasn't all bad.
Okay, worst SEC towns to visit? Like, Lubbock is miserable.
Well, that's not SEC.
Or worst Big 12 towns, he's asking. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I see that
Lubbock
now.
is miserable. Manhattan isn't great. Waco's by far the worst. Waco's awful. There was nothing there. Stillwater kind of sucks. Like, the biggest upgrade in the SEC is the town. Some of the towns are better.
Yeah.
Although
a lot of them are hard to fly to, and you have to fly to most of them from Missouri.
Right. In the Big 12, we could drive, which was nice, but like the actual towns were not great places. Thoughts on the Bielema hire? I don't think it's hideous. Like, they could have done better, but I think he can get them to be like competitive. I don't think he's. Oh my, that throw by Bazelak! Did you see that?
Yeah, that was.
I mean, where was that going?
I have no idea. Really and truly, I don't.
Wait, was that on fourth down too?
Yeah.
I actually credit Drinkwitz for going for it there because, like, why not? He's not afraid to lose by more.
Yeah.
Which I respect. Like, punting there doesn't accomplish anything.
Right.
But I don't think the Bielema hire is awful. I don't think it's great. I don't think they're going to win the Big Ten, but I think he's been successful in that league before.
Yeah, I kind of like mixed reactions. Like in one sense, I'm like, first of all, like Illinois could do worse. Like I'm sure not everyone is beating down the door for that job. And Bielema has success, recruiting the Midwest and playing in the Big Ten. That said, it was also kind of one of those things where I'm just like, gosh, why do we like so many? We recycle so many coaches in college football. Yeah. It's like, it's like when it's not exactly like when South Carolina hired Will Muschamp because he had already failed in that league. But I'm like, man, there really wasn't someone like you could take a chance on because if you're Illinois, you might as well
go hire Will Healy.
Swing for the fences. Yeah. So I don't know. I think they could have done worse. Could have done better.
Lovey for defensive coordinator. I don't know. I mean, dude's got to be getting close to retirement, right?
I feel like you'd run the risk of then hiring someone who's just trying to cash a check.
Yeah, I don't
all like that invested.
What are we going to talk about post game? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe nothing. Like it might be over in 30. I might play Drinkwitz's press conference and be done. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Drink your Tank Sevens as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Try to make it interesting.
Yeah. Bazelak hurt his hand in last week's game, wondering if it's still bothering him. That's possible.
Yeah. I mean, he's getting beat up pretty good the last few weeks.
Yeah. Bazelak will get a full offseason this year. Reason for optimism, not worrying about ACL rehab. That's true. A full offseason with the coaching staff and the playbook and all that. That's a thing.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's, like, he says reason for optimism. Yeah, there's lots of reason for optimism. It's not just Bazelak. But, yeah, I mean, like, this whole offense hardly, got a chance to practice before the season, and they've been throwing together things on the fly with COVID absences and stuff this year. So, I think, just having a fully contiguous offseason will be very important.
Yeah. Bazelak ran triple option in high school and has not shown any ability to throw downfield. Wide receiver play has hurt him, but more times than not, he throws a bad ball. Needs work. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say he needs work. I'm interested that he ran a triple option offense in high school because what he hasn't really shown is the ability to do a lot with his legs.
Yeah, well, I don't think he ran it like a whole ton. I think he just more handed it off.
I got you.
Pitched it. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't watch him play in high school. So I just know that in his press conference this past week, someone asked him about his toughness and if that stemmed from getting hit a lot in high school. And he was like, well, I really didn't get tackled all that much in high school. So
Even with the loss, Bob Douglas got to see Mitchell, so that's good.
Appreciate it, Bob.
Yeah. I mean, every
How
time
is there still 12 and a half
every
minutes?
time I look down at the screen, the clock isn't even moving.
Yeah, this is
Like
brutal.
there's a flag and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Robinson involved on a lot of plays. Yeah, I mean, again, he deserves credit for what he's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, just the fact that he's still on
Doing
this team.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Willing to do that. I think there's a good chance in this offseason he moves on, and I think coaches will maybe tell him that, like, hey, we have our quarterback, but go play quarterback somewhere else. And it should not be viewed even remotely the same as a lot of these transfers where people get up in arms about it.
Yeah. What do we have to do to get a turbo clock? Amen. We need one. I mean, I would pay for it. How has Michael Cox done so far today? Michael could get some carries here down the stretch. I mean, this is that type of game at this point.
I don't know who that is.
He's a legend from one of our post-game shows. Somebody called in to ask me about Michael Cox, and I thought it was a prank call and he was making it up. But there's legit a walk-on running back on the team named Michael Cox.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
first, Journey Jones has to get some carries before Michael Cox.
He has become a Power Mizzou live stream legend, though. He's got a lot of fans here.
It's unbelievable that the clock is always stopped. Why is it stopped right now?
Well, part of the reason is because Mississippi State legitimately never runs the ball.
Yeah.
Ever.
Gosh.
And like Clay says, every time they get a first down, the clock stops. So.
Yeah. In the NFL, though, they only stop the clock for incompletions outside of like the last 5 or 7 minutes or something like that. Like college.
They only stop for out of bounds the last 5 to 7 minutes. I think an incomplete pass always stops it, doesn't it?
You might be right. I don't know.
But it runs much faster.
Sean Robinson nearly had a pick there.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would have been probably the story of the game, right?
Yeah, for sure. Also,
I mean, other than the fact Missouri got beat 48-18 by a 2-17. That was actually a nice play, though.
Mm-hmm. Not to, I don't know what's going on with this person, not to kick someone, unnecessarily, but you got to feel kind of bad if you're Stacey Brown and not playing in this game.
I wonder if he's there.
They just showed him on the Sun.
Okay.
That's why I thought
yeah, weird.
I mean, we heard a lot of good things.
He's played in some other games.
Yes, yeah. I mean, maybe they just think he can only play the same position as Martez Manuel, and Manuel's been out there. But I would have to. I mean, they're playing Mason Pack, Sean Robinson, and Chris Abrams-Drain in the secondary. You would think that a safety would be able to contribute.
That was one of the ugliest field goals that went in that I've ever seen.
It was.
I mean,
Clemson, by the way, is now winning 31-3.
Ooh, that hurts.
Trevor Lawrence had a 34-yard touchdown run.
I nearly accidentally credited Brandon Ruiz with a 135-yard field goal, which actually would be pretty cool.
That was not going to be good from 135.
I'm not sure it would have been good from 36.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe there's still 11 minutes left in this game.
Hopefully they just hand it to Rountree and try to get him 1,000 yards.
Yeah, that would be nice. Clemson basically ran the same sprint draw that Arkansas gashed Missouri with, but did it with the quarterback, where they, did a couple steps to the left and faked the pitch, but then instead of handing it off to the draw, Trevor Lawrence took it right up the middle for a 35-yard touchdown. So, Mizzou fans, the good news is your team's not the only one that struggles to solve that.
There you go. Well, you knew there'd be days like so. Let's look at this. There's 10 games. Like you kind of Alabama, Florida, Georgia. You almost kind of write off, right? Like whatever.
Yeah.
So you got 7 games left, and Missouri went 5-2 in those games and played very, very poorly in 2 and pretty well in most of the others, very well on at least one side of the ball in all the others.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. You can kind of like, if you're writing off the Georgia, Florida, Alabama games on one side, you maybe write off Vandy on the other. But
I think you might have just unplugged your microphone or something because you went really quiet. Yeah.
Oh, I did unplug my microphone.
I thought so.
With my foot.
Robinson is the Rick Ankiel of Mizzou. Illinois and
So quiet.
Illinois. No, that's good. Illinois and Penn State tied at 21 in the first quarter.
We've gotten to the point where they're talking about Eli Drinkwitz's sweatshirt that he wore during his midweek press conference on the broadcast. So
we've gotten to the point where we're talking about Brett Bielema. So
yeah,
and Rick Ankiel.
Yeah.
Tyler, to answer your question about, as a Chiefs fan, who I want to make the Super Bowl, the team that they have the best chance to beat. Like, I'm not here for a competitive game. I just want the worst team. Whoever the 7 seed is, I want to get there. Whoever wins the NFC East, that's who I want in the Super Bowl.
That's what you want. Yeah, like the Giants or the Redskins.
Give me the Washington football team.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, not the Redskins.
Right. That doesn't exist anymore.
My bad.
Oh, my. Hey, the clock is actually moving when I look down.
Well, now it's not. Incomplete pass. It stopped again.
Figures. I honestly have no idea how Missouri even made it to the 38-yard line. Last I saw, Towski Dove had caught a pass on like their own 35.
I kind of stopped. I stopped paying attention, and when I looked up, they were talking about the sweatshirt, so that ensured me that I made the right decision to stop paying attention.
Yeah, so I don't know. It seems kind of pointless almost to keep going, but yet there's still 9.5 minutes left, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just go to sleep.
I think after this drive, I'll probably unplug and start writing my takeaways.
Finish Strong said that if they'd kept Odom for one more year, it would have been a more complete team this year, and I don't see the logic there.
Yeah, I'm not sure I do either. In fact, I know that I don't. I don't know what you can. Feel free to defend yourself, but
right. I don't understand where who left that because Odom was gone that would have made this a more complete team. I don't know. After this year, we will be playing catch up for a long time. I don't.
This year is part of the playing
right.
catch up.
This year is year 1 of catch up.
Well, that was a heck of an effort by Larry Rountree.
Yeah.
He's had a good game.
He has.
What did he need to get to 1,000 yards?
He needed 149. He's got 114.
He's at 114, so he's not actually that close.
He needs one more big run, which I don't think he's going to get a chance really to get.
No, but nice effort. I anticipate we will be hearing from him in the post-game press conference.
You think?
I anticipate it will be like Larry Rountree, Case Cook, maybe Sean Robinson, maybe.
I mean, good for Sean Robinson, but that can't be one of the post-game interviews.
I think there's a good chance.
I mean, but why?
Because
that's not the story.
No, but I predict that he will be trying.
How about Josh Bledsoe? We could talk to him.
Well,
or Ennis Rakestraw.
Yeah, that's just not going to happen. They're not throwing a true freshman up there after this game.
Well, they should throw some. Or Kobe. Kobe could talk.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Kobe in months.
We haven't talked to him since he came back.
Started. Yeah. But are they really reviewing this play? Gosh,
it doesn't. Is Mississippi State really going to be mad if it's not a touchdown?
And if any coach would do it, he should just be like, "Look, you don't need to review. I don't care."
Right. It's
cool. If any coach was going to do it, I think he would say that.
He's close enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Fine. Let's just get out of here.
Okay, so Finish Strong is saying Odom took several recruits to Arkansas with him. Which ones? I truly don't know who.
It's Jalen St. John, that offensive lineman, flipped.
Okay.
I don't know that he's making a difference this year.
No.
And then that running back, something Johnson, but you're very good at
You're
running
fine
back,
at running
so.
back. So that's just not true. The several
that's
opt-outs, but a lot of those guys that opted out because they weren't playing. And
Yeah.
so, if they aren't playing on this team, why would you be better if they were playing? I respect different viewpoints, but this viewpoint is incorrect. It's just not factual. And look, I get accused way too often of defending Barry Odom. So,
Yeah.
Hey, there's still 8:39 left, like there was 12 minutes ago when I looked at the game.
At least I'm working from my couch.
Yeah, right. Favorite old Christmas movies. We just discussed this last night. We don't really like Christmas movies that much.
I like Elf. That's the one Christmas movie I really like.
I like Christmas Vacation and A Christmas Story, but those aren't really old. I like anything in black and white. I refuse to watch. I don't want to watch.
Christmas Story is pretty old.
Yeah, but any movie made before 1980, I don't have any desire to watch really.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all movies, honestly. Not Christmas movies. That touchdown, I think that touchdown does tie Rountree with Abram for second overtime with Forde.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Dude, I'm scrolling through the comments, and Mitchell Bennett hooked us up with a $20 super chat. So appreciate that and Mitchell for you hanging out here with us all year. Sorry, I just got to it. I was trying to catch up with all the comments. It didn't give me up the banner like it usually does. Also, we were too busy talking about how we hate Christmas. But Mitchell and a bunch of you guys have been here, and we are going to do this again for the bowl game. We don't know yet where the bowl game's going to be or when. Mitchell, not Mitchell Bennett, Mitchell Forde may go and cover it. We'll see. But we'll do the streaming again on game day. We'll have one more pregame, postgame, watch along type show. I guess we find out tomorrow where that is, right?
We will. We will find out, I don't know, sometime relatively early in the day, I would anticipate. And then there will be a press conference in the afternoon. We'll write a story about it.
Yeah. Maybe even post video.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yep.
Depending on, I don't know. Maybe we won't. It might not be super exciting, but.
Right. But yeah, should be good.
Yeah. I want them to play. So if it's in the Outback Bowl, it's a Big Ten team.
Mm-hmm.
Not Northwestern. That game would seriously be 7-3.
Yeah,
I have no desire to watch that football game. Let's see who else. I got to check conference standings to see who else would be possible.
Wisconsin wouldn't be the worst game.
I mean,
I could deal with Mizzou, Wisconsin.
Yeah, we'd learn something about Wisconsin because right now what we know is they're 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if they're any good or not, honestly.
Right. I don't know if anyone knows. Yeah.
I mean, I think Indiana is probably too good for that spot. So now you're starting to get down. It's probably Iowa would be my guess. 6-2.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But honestly, so here's the Big Ten. 6-0 Ohio State, 6-1 Indiana, 6-2 Northwestern, 6-2 Iowa. 3-3 Minnesota is next in the standings.
Wow.
I mean, 2-3 Maryland, 3-5 Penn State. Match them up against Penn State in the Outback Bowl. That's fine.
Kind of interesting.
I wouldn't hate it. Then the Gator Bowl would be against an ACC team. Notre Dame and Clemson are going to be in the playoffs. It'd probably be Miami, North Carolina, and North Carolina State. I think those are really the only ACC teams that haven't opted out of bowl games.
Yeah, North Carolina would be amusing because they're like really bipolar and they can score a ton of points, but also give up a ton of points. But I also think that would be a bad matchup for Missouri because I think they have like one of the best running offenses in the country.
They did run for
Missouri's
554 yards against Miami.
Yeah, apparently Missouri's run defense isn't the best.
Not great. Let's see what they've given up in running. They've given up 131 on 23 carries, both I assume season highs for Mississippi State.
I gotta think so. I know the yardage is. Yeah. All right. I feel like it's probably about time for me to hop off of here.
Okay, cool. I'll run through some comments and we'll see if we make it all the way to the end of the game or not. It's entirely possible that everybody will. Like Bob Douglas is leaving when you do. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hate to take him.
I assume we've been emailed a link to Zoom at some point.
I think so. I'm sure. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have it pulled up, but thanks again for everyone for hanging out with us. Made it a little bit more enjoyable.
All right. We'll see you, Mitch.
We did the same for you. See ya.
All right. Breakfast King of Loyola wants to see Wichita State or Delaware State in the bowl game. I could see that. That'd be okay. It would make for a very boring game. Sean Robinson getting in, making some more plays on defense. He really has played a heck of a game for considering, he's a quarterback. It's pretty impressive. And he's jumping around and he looks excited to be out there. So good for him. It's a cool story. All right, so I feel like it'll be Missouri probably get the ball one more time is all. See what the Pirates going to do from here. It would be interesting to see Robinson start in the bowl game. I mean, like, you're right. Clearly the energy and the effort has stood out in this game. No question. And that's, again, I don't want to question the effort of anybody that was playing earlier. That's not my point. But he has clearly brought a level of energy to this that nobody else had before him. So credit to him for that. Fourth and 2 for Mississippi State when they come back. I think we're past the point of like inventing these crazy ways that Missouri could somehow manage to get this done. If you really wanted to, if Mississippi State actually goes for this and does something dumb, I guess then Missouri could get it back to a 2-score game at 44-33. But I think we're being a little we're reaching the point where you need to recover 2 onside kicks, and that is simply not a thing that's going to happen. During our last break, I want to remind you guys, Colin Gentry has sponsored this all season long. That is callgentry.com. You can check them out. You can visit them in Jefferson City. You can get on the phone and give them a call, 644-6090. They have been with us all season long and appreciate their help and their sponsorship. And so hope you guys do use them if you're in mid-Missouri and need some legal advice or expertise. After this game is over, we will shut this down. I will jump on Eli Drinkwitz's Zoom call. When the Zoom call is over, we will immediately start the post-game drink. We'll play Drinkwitz's press conference, and then we'll open up the phone lines and we'll take your calls. If however many calls there are, whatever you guys want to talk about, the game, the season, who to hire, who to fire, all that, we'll be there and take your calls while Mitchell is writing up some stuff from the player post-game, and then we'll finish up later tonight, 10 thoughts and for tomorrow morning and the grade card and all that. So you guys pretty much know the drill by now, but should be probably within, I would guess, 20 to 30 minutes after the game ends, we'll be back on to start the post-game drink, would be my assumption. So hope you guys all join us there, have a beer, and Ole Miss now is leading LSU 41-40, which is that could affect if Ole Miss wins that game. I think that could affect Missouri's bowl spot and maybe knock them out of the Outback down to the Gator or possibly even the Music City. Depending on what happened with LSU. So I've got to check. That's actually the second punt I remember for Mississippi State. There have probably been more. There have not been more. Let me see. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. No, that's it. So since the opening punt, which was obviously fumbled for a Mississippi State touchdown, Mississippi State went touchdown, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, fumble, interception, touchdown, field goal. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 drives. They've got 8 scores and 2 turnovers between bookended punts. It's not great. Not great, guys. There's not a lot more to say there. Breakfast King, yes, I believe that Colin Gentry would take a divorce case. I mean, you got to get in touch with them, but I believe so. Is anybody else feeling regret for looking forward to this game all week? I bet you have some company there, but there's only so many. Look, we got 10 games in. That's not something that we thought was going to happen back at the beginning of the year. So I do think, at the beginning of the year, we said, hey, just playing games is the big deal. And it is. And I knew once we got into the games that losing them or winning them would become more important. And I understand why that is. But I do think we still need to kind of focus on the fact that Missouri managed to play the whole season. And I'm about to watch the pick six. It was a nice play by Mississippi State. Oof. Not super effort on the tackle by the quarterback at the goal line. Let's say that. That's okay. You don't want your quarterback hurt making a tackle necessarily. But it was noticeable there what happened at the end. I mean, that was a nice play by the Mississippi State corner. Give him credit. Hazelton just couldn't track the guy down. I mean, Bazelak just kind of ran in front of him. That's you'd like to at least dive at the legs or something. Again, that's not his main job. I'm not gonna freak out necessarily that he didn't make the tackle, but like things like that it's noticeable. That's gonna stand out on the film, and I would assume somebody is going to mention that on the film. That there probably needs to be a little bit more effort, I guess, on the tackle. So yeah, now it's 51-25, and this has gotten obviously completely out of hand. And again, it's worth mentioning, every single part of the team gets blamed for this. Yes, coaching, yes, offense, yes, defense, yes, special teams, all of it. Missouri was outclassed today by a 2-7 football team, and that's not where you want to be. It doesn't wreck the season, doesn't wreck the direction of the program, but it's going to leave a mark a little bit. I think also it likely costs Drinkwitz Coach of the Year. I think that probably goes to – honestly, I would give it to Saban. I mean, they're the best team in the league. Jimbo, I don't know. The one game he had against a better team, he got blown off the field. So Dan wants to know, what do you do with Bazelak? Do you light him up or do you love him? Neither one necessarily. You go through it and you say, look, these are things you can't do. These are things we got to fix. I mean, I don't think you have to lay into him, but I don't think you have to lie to him either. So we shall see. Let's see now what's happening. Okay, so Rountree is at 123. And look, this isn't like I don't expect the coach to know this, but it would be cool if he gets another 26 yards and gets a 1,000-yard season. Bazelak should have been picked off again, truthfully. I mean, that first down pass should have been picked. Would have been a nice play, but it should have been. So, yeah, now you're in, what, 4th and 3 from your own 32. I don't know. At this point, I'd punt. I mean, you're not coming back to win the game. I'm not into sending messages. And if you don't punt, you're going to give them reason to go for more points. I would punt. All right, guys. So let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Tyler Macon, when he shows up, is going to be a guy that hadn't played football in 2 years. And a freshman. And so today was a bad day for Bazelak. But you don't judge a guy on his worst day, right? He's also thrown for 400 yards against LSU and done some things that led people to think he was going to be a 6-year starter and all that. So, yeah, I mean, Macon has a chance to win the job, but to expect him to come in and win it as a true freshman, it would surprise me, to be quite honest with you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and update the stats here because I think we're going to get pretty close to just running this thing out pretty soon. I'm hopeful anyway. And they're going to start post-game, I'm sure, real quick after the game. So I'm probably going to end this with a couple minutes left because, I mean, guys, we've talked this to death. I don't really know what else there is to say at this point. But we'll just run through where the stats stand right now. Again, like, I don't know, 425 yards for Mississippi State shouldn't lead to 51 points, it doesn't seem like, but it did. What did Missouri have total yards? Only 305, so that's not many. Pretty much everything favored Mississippi State. The score is more lopsided than the stats would indicate it would be. Partly because Mississippi State scored on defense and on special teams. And Missouri had, 4 turnovers? Yeah, it lost 4 turnovers. And Missouri's just not good enough to win a game where it turns the ball over 4 times. That's really what it comes down to. So, all right, so Freeway JQ says he'll be back for the bowl game. So we'll be glad to have you there. Bo will be home for Christmas. That's good to know. Yeah, thanks to all you guys for sticking around as well. Appreciate it, and appreciate you being here and taking part in all these shows all week, or all year, really. All day today and all year. So Sean Robinson's about to do something, so I'm going to stick around for that. So I assume it's coming up. The clock still isn't running for some reason, but... That was a really nice play by Robinson to not only to break it up, but to go get it. I mean, that's a cool thing. He's going to tell that, that's a very cool story. It's not the biggest story of this day, but it is cool. Good for him. Nice to see. A heck of a play, really. And, I mean, he broke on that ball. Look, and he's been one of the better defensive players on the field today. So kudos to him. Again, the game's over. The 51-25 might not be the final, but they're going to start postgame pretty soon afterwards. So I'm going to take a quick break so that I can jump back on Drinkwitz's Zoom call. And after the Zoom call, we'll start the postgame drink. We will replay Drinkwitz's press conference, and we'll take your calls. So we'll see you shortly.